Good morning, everyone. We are live. It's 5 a.m. on the West Coast in Pasadena, California, where I am talking to you about the Oscars today. It's the Oscar nominations. Many of you have been looking forward to this. Some of us, I don't know. The Oscars, I have a begrudging relationship with the Oscars, and lately, I don't know. Do the Oscars even matter? We're going to be talking about a lot of topics. We're going to be talking about our predictions here on the Film Threat podcast. Thank you for those of us who are joining us live. Hello, everybody. Deleted Scenes is here. TT is here. Thank you for those in the chat who are chatting with us live here on YouTube. I'm going to be joined by a few of my colleagues here at Film Threat. Welcome to the Film Threat podcast Oscars nomination special. Here we are. We're getting ready. The countdown is happening. The Oscar noms are going to be announced at 5:18 a.m., perhaps 8:18 East Coast time if you're watching us on the East Coast. They will be announced in two groups. They do a chunk kind of at 5:18, then they take a little bit of a break, then they do the final chunk of nominations. Before we get started talking about that, my colleague Alan Ng.
Hey, there we go.
The editor-in-chief of Film Threat. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's great.
Yep. I bought it a while ago. I need to use it at some point. So
exactly. Yeah. Well, hopefully you won't be able to, won't have to use it for much longer.
Yeah, I know.
Alan has our
hopefully
Film Threat Gator, which you can get at the Film Threat shop, where you can support us and buy something. You can even get this T-shirt that I'm wearing right now, which is the Film Threat Award This shirt. Which Award This is an annual event that we do where we award independent films, like truly independent films, small indie movies made for like nothing, tiny small indie movies. This year we're doing the event May 5th. The reason is we're doing it away from flu season. I'm only featuring myself to show the shirt, Alan. That's all I'm doing. Just I want to show the shirt. But if you are a filmmaker and you would like to be a part of Award This, it's very simple. There's only two qualifications. One, you need to be available in commercial release, meaning people need to be able to purchase your film in some way, or it should be available streaming. So it could be streaming on YouTube, Netflix, whatever, any streaming service, just available for people to see. The other thing it has to be is it has to be available it has to have been reviewed on filmthreat.com. So we have our nominations, our deadline. Everything is open now, but the submissions close on March 18th. Then 1 week later, we're announcing the nominations. So if you're a filmmaker, you can follow at Award This on Twitter. And I hope if you're a filmmaker that you'll consider it. So there you go. Alan, last year you were a presenter. It was a big surprise for you.
Yeah. Are you talking about the announcement or my?
Yes.
Yeah. I became editor-in-chief while I was walking up on stage. So
you didn't know that was going to happen.
I did not know that was.
I'm sorry, I kept that from you.
I know. I'm like, that's not my title.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, the nominations are going to be coming up soon. What are your predictions? I mean, can I make a quick prediction right now?
Yeah.
I have my Lucky Dune sandworm. I've had this since Dune came out in the 80s, the original David Lynch Dune. I am predicting not only will Dune be nominated for Best Picture, it's going to get it'll get the most nominations of any single film. The main reason being that all the technical categories, I think it's going to, yes, this is I'm sorry, I'm going to put myself full screen again. I'm going to put myself full screen just for a minute here. That's my Lucky Dune sandworm. And if I were accepting an award, I would for Dune, I would be bringing this up on stage. There we go. I'm gonna hold that up every time Dune gets a nomination. Let's go to the chat. We've got people. What are your predictions? People are saying good morning.
Good morning, one man.
Good morning from Ohio. Okay, good. You're more awake than I
Yeah.
am. Darren says, "Hail chat. The sound of one man laughing." And Alan too. Wow, Alan, that is, I think, your
No,
first,
I got to call out.
that's your first shout out. That's your first shout out there, Alan. The sound of one man laughing. I got my 2 mugs yesterday, well packaged. Well, thank you. Look at that. Yes, pick up a piece of merch. I am drinking fruit tea here in the morning to just wake up. But my prediction is Dune is going to do well, mainly because
I mean,
it's a
I
somewhat
don't.
somewhat
Are there
commercial
enough
movie.
technical categories to give it the most?
Yes, there are. And
Yeah,
oh my
it's
God,
probably
Kenny
right.
Cross says, fade in, fade in. That is a reference to Kathleen Kennedy did this weird video where she actually on the teleprompter it said fade in and she said the word fade in. And then she did, Kenny, that was just, how did they let that go? How did they let that
Yeah,
go?
they've just given up. They've given up.
I don't know. Deleted scene says, I would like to see In the Heights and
Oh
Old
no.
Henry. Okay, Old Henry was a great. I interviewed the
Mhm.
director. If you look on the Film Threat YouTube channel right now, you will see that the director. I did an interview with the director of that movie. Great film, shot during the pandemic. Fantastic with a great twist. Love it.
Definitely more exciting than Power of the Dog. That'd be my opinion.
Rishab Karki says Dune gets 10 nominations at the least. I agree. Bobby Lapierre, our colleague Bobby, is here. Why is the West Coast team doing this again? You're right. I don't know. I don't know why we're doing it. Dune's getting a lot of love. Dune's
Dude.
getting love in the chat. Kenny says that was hilarious. Yeah, the thing with Kathleen Kennedy, I have no idea why she is still
Still looking.
why she that sequel trilogy was terrible. I'm just sorry, it was terrible. But before we actually get into it, we've got a few more. We've got like maybe 10 minutes before the nominations start. I want to bring on one of our other colleagues here. Michael Talbot Haynes is here. You're more on the East Coast than we are.
No, actually, I am just one time zone over. We're on Mountain Time right now, so it's very late in the morning. It's only 6:07 right now.
All right, let's hear your quick prediction. One quick prediction.
Honestly, I am looking for a lot of Nightmare Alley. I don't want Nightmare Alley to become the Great Gatsby of this year, where we only get it nominated for art direction and costumes, and then it wins both. And then, like Gatsby, it obviously would have won a lot more if it had been nominated for a lot more. But my Sting doll says that we should be seeing a lot of not only technical nominations for Dune, but we should be seeing adapted screenplay and Best Picture for Dune as well.
Well, oh, that's great that you have. Oh man, you know, it's so funny. I had all those Dune toys I finally had to get rid of them. I just, you know, I just decided that I have so many collectibles. I don't want them in storage. Like if I'm going to have collectibles, they're going to be on display and out. And if you could see, I'm doing a complete revamp of my space where I do YouTube stuff because I'm surrounded by collectibles, most of which you can't see. So I actually ordered a desk. I literally am doing this with a box in front of me. But let's talk about, I want to get to a topic and I want to hear what the chat has to say. Do the Oscars even matter anymore? Do the Oscars even matter anymore? I mean, you know, we've seen in recent years the ratings for the Oscars have, you know, taken a dive. You have shows like the Golden Globes, at least when they let Ricky Gervais host the Golden Globes, you know, it was interesting because he would call out celebrities. He would call out, you know, the hypocrisy of Hollywood, you know, and you look at like the Oscars are so afraid to take any risk. You know, there's not even a host, right? Like no one wants to host the Oscars because then you just become, you know, you put under a microscope for everything you've ever said in your life. You know, they just need a virgin priest to host the Oscars. Maybe which would be like presiding over a funeral. I'll start with you, Alan. What are your thoughts on do the Oscars even matter anymore? I presented evidence that I would say to general audiences and to most people, the Oscars don't matter.
Yeah.
I want to know what the chat thinks, and Michael, we'll go to you after. But Alan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's from the very beginning. If you think about it, the people who vote in the Oscars are the ones in the room at that time. They're not us. These are filmmakers, pretentious filmmakers who make a lot of money, who work for the big studios, and they're just, it's like a giant club that we're not a part of. And then we're watching them essentially congratulate each other, pat each other on the back, and say, "Well done." And that's why the movies we like never show up in the Oscars. I mean, Spider-Man has zero chance, but it's clearly the best movie of the year, maybe just behind Dune.
Well, I would say Spider-Man probably the most popular movie of the year.
Absolutely.
I mean, certainly if you go by box office, it's the most popular. Michael, what are your thoughts? Do the Oscars matter anymore? I mean, it used to be, now the Oscars is almost kind of a curse, whether you're hosting it, whether like you won and then you go to get more work, and then it's like, well, this is an Oscar nominee. Well, clearly, I don't know. I feel like awards in general have kind of lost their sheen. But Michael, it looks like you're being interrogated at a police station right now, as you are backlit. But what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think that a lot of the misperception of the Oscar host curse came around because when Letterman was hosting the Oscars, we didn't have the type of internet reaction that we have now, to where like the press goes ahead and weighs in, but then the audience actually weighs in. I always thought Letterman's Oscar hosting was absolutely hilarious, but like woke up the next day and everyone was going ahead saying, oh, it was like the worst hosting job in the world. Oscars, I still think, are the most relevant award show that we have. I mean, I don't watch the Grammys. Obviously, the Golden Globes now, like you couldn't watch those. Like Oscars is still, I think, the one award show where even if it's not the movies that we were necessarily following, it still gives us, like some sort of insight into what's being done out there, at least in a level in between the mainstream and the sort of more of the niche thing. But once again, like the popularity wanes with how well known the nominees are. And also the Oscars, they've gotten better, but they still are too much of a clip show where they're showing old clips of, like Clark Gable kissing in the rain too much before getting on to the awards. But no, I still think that the Oscars are relevant. Like they're not the final say in terms of film quality. They're more of a barometer to sort of, like gauge things by. But still, geez, a lot more relevant than the Grammys.
Yeah, well, for sure. For me, it's like I've been watching the Oscars since I was a kid. It was the only way to actually see clips from movies, and I remember Star Wars losing. Star Wars lost for Best Picture to Annie Hall. So
well, Raiders was nominated for Best Picture too.
Yeah, it's the Oscars feels guilty nominating for a movie that has done well at the box office. The Oscars feel guilty nominating a movie that is just fun. The Oscars as a voting block wants to let you know how much they care about social causes and social issues, which has now become the lecture show. So I fully expect it to be. I think last year's Oscars was just a disaster of one lecture after another. A lot of virtue signaling from the presenters and the award winners. So there you go. Let's go to the chat. Is here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. She should be on this show, joining us. One of these days. One day, RM. You're gonna be here. Let's see. Let's go to some more chat. Love the Green Knight. The Green Knight probably. It was one of those things that opened too early in the year, and I didn't see a huge campaign mounted. Let's see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dane says, Dane Fingerheim, if I'm reading it correctly, the Oscars don't matter to me, but it's funny to see how self-important Hollywood thinks it is. I agree, Dane. I think it's weird. Hollywood is not as important, not as relevant, and not as influential. It's not as influential. If anything, Hollywood has lost touch with, I think, working people and just average moviegoers, right? I mean, you're looking at so many of the movies. Eternals comes to mind, a movie that was incredibly important, and it's Marvel's least successful movie, right? So there we go. Bobby Lapierre says, I think that because the Academy ignores such a large swath of film, the relevancy is on a hard downward spiral. I would agree. It'll remain that way until they go defunct or undergo massive change. I think massive change is coming whether we want it or not. I mean, there's now their DIE initiatives, which is the diversity, equity, inclusion. Usually people say diversity, inclusion, equity. DIE is kind of how people phrase it. But now Oscar movies are being held to task for, making sure that there is diversity. I think that that's a positive step, but when it's forced, I'm not sure. I look at a film like Licorice Pizza, not particularly diverse in terms of the cast. It's about a particular era and a particular place and time in the Los Angeles area. And I love that film. I love that film, Licorice Pizza. I love the film Black Panther. I know Black Panther, a lot of people would argue, didn't really deserve to be nominated for Best Picture. I don't think it's Marvel's best movie. I think visually amazing in terms of its world building. And that's a film that, not a lot of white people in that movie. Did anyone care? No, nobody cared. I really think that, I think it's important that filmmakers have some creative freedom.
Oh, we got a minute and a half here.
We got a minute and a half. Richard says, I think the Oscars are important for posterity, but not super relevant to us today. It is the Academy telling people 10, 20, 50 years down the line what movies are culturally relevant today. That's a very astute comment, Richard. I appreciate that.
I just want to go to your previous comment, but to me, it's the problem is it's about story. People like us want good stories. And I think what Hollywood doing is putting stories on the back burner and checking off boxes, making sure that, that they're hitting the right woke quotient and at the expense of the story, which is why Black Panther was so great, because it had a good story. Same thing with Licorice Pizza. And, and I think if you're just trying to appear woke, and if you're trying to hit that diversity quotient, you're going in the wrong direction.
Well, I think if you're, I think it has to serve the story and the characters.
Absolutely.
Right? It has to serve the story and the characters. If it doesn't serve the story and the characters, and you're putting these choices above, if you're putting the agenda above storytelling, that's not a good thing. I'm going to put on my AirPods because I'm going to be listening and commenting live as we watch this. Here we go. What am I looking at? I'm looking at ABC right now at the
I'm on Oscars.com or .org on their YouTube channel.
Here we are. Here come the announcements. Here we are.
He's trying to connect.
I've been to this theater where they make the announcements. It's really beautiful theater.
On the West Coast, do you think it's people getting up early for this, or are they just staying up late?
Yes, they're getting up early for this. Mm-hmm. And here we'll react live to our nominations. Oh, wait, they're doing this over Zoom. Oh my God, this is terrible.
So dangerous thing.
Oh my God. Oh, it's Leslie Jordan and I don't know. Leslie Jordan and Tracy Ellis Ross. Yeah. So now they're on Zoom. Where's the pomp and circumstance? They usually do it in a theater, right? So
they could have done it. Really.
Here we go. So coming up is going to be the nominees for original score. I predict Hans Zimmer for that. Sound, I predict Dune. Costume design, Dune. And probably something like In the Heights, West Side Story.
West Side Story, definitely.
Supporting actress. This is going to be our chunk. The theme is Movie Lovers Unite. Movie Lovers Unite? This is the theme? All right. Well, let's see. Here we go.
It's to get us back in the theaters.
Okay. Oh my God. The banter is just as cringeworthy, right now during the nominations as it is for the actual awards.
Good.
So here we go. Grab yourself some tea. That's what I have. I have some tea. There you go.
As do I.
Well, they start off with, oh God. Oh my God. Leslie has a pink. Oh my God. Here we go. Supporting.
Right,
Actors in a supporting role. Nominees. Jessie Buckley, The Lost Daughter.
Okay. Yeah.
Ariana DeBose, West Side Story. Judi Dench, Belfast, no surprise. Kirsten Dunst, Power of the Dog.
Yeah.
Ingenue Ellis, King Richard. King Richard, an underrated film. I thought that film was
Absolutely.
great. So there you go.
Very smart to go ahead and have Dunst for supporting as opposed to lead actress.
Costume design, Cruella, Cyrano, Dune. Yeah, Dune. Nightmare Alley. Michael, that was your favorite Nightmare Alley. And West Side Story. That's costume design.
West Side Story.
That's awesome. Oh God. Oh, it's so cringeworthy. You're fortunate you're not watching this. That's all I can say. Sound, Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die. Oh, Bond, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. I'm a little surprised at that because West Side Story kind of like, I don't know, West Side Story, I mean, tanked at the box office and was received fully mixed critical. What do you think?
I loved the West Side Story. I'm not surprised at all. Yeah. What is it?
Okay. So they're doing this thing where they're saying movie lovers unite is the theme. So they're going to people at a hospital to.
What's the way of the Oscars to connect with the common man?
Nominees for music, original score. Don't Look Up. Dune. Dune. No surprise on Dune.
Good score.
Encanto. Parallel Mothers. The Power of the Dog. The Power of the Dog for original score. So there you go. Here we are. I don't know. Chat, how are you reacting to these nominations? Post your comments. We'll go through the comments after.
Yeah.
Awesome. Here we go. Oh no. There's
another bit.
We should try some terrible banter.
I know.
Ugh. What are we doing?
Chris, are you mugging for the camera?
Adapted screenplay.
Right.
Coda. Okay. Adapted screenplay.
Dune.
Yeah, Dune.
Drive My Car.
Okay, now Dune.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is great. Villeneuve. The Lost Daughter.
And
Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. There you go for adapted screenplay. Now, original screenplay. Here we go on this. Belfast, Kenneth Branagh.
French.
Don't Look Up. King Richard.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza. Yes. I'm so glad Licorice Pizza got it. And The Worst Person in the World that's for original screenplay. So some decent choices on that. Licorice Pizza and Dune, I'm really happy made it. Now here's Best Animated Short. And I wonder if we've seen any of these. Alan, you'll have to let me know.
Yeah.
A lot of short films.
I'll let you know if I've seen.
Affairs of the Art, Bestia.
Yeah, I've seen Bestia.
Bestia, that's great.
Yeah.
Box Ballet, Robin, and The Windshield Wiper. Robin, anything to do with Batman? Probably not.
We just reviewed the Windshield Wiper, or we will this week, actually.
Well, we'll have to do a collection of our reviews for nominated short film. Now it's live action short film.
Yes.
Here we go. You ready? Here we go. A la Kachu,
Yeah.
Take and
Oh
Run.
yeah, that's a good one.
The Dress.
Yeah, not seen it, but I
How
know
Long
you
to Die, On My Mind. Please Hold. So
Okay. I think
Well,
we've actually
ooh.
reviewed most of those.
I will be doing a story on filmthreat.com about the nominated short films for live action and animated. So there you go. Oh man, the scripted banter is awful. Here we go. Actor in a supporting role. Karine Hines in Belfast. Troy Kotzer in Coda. Jesse Plemons, The Power of the Dog. J.K. Simmons in Being the
Ooh,
Ricardos. Yes, I'm pulling for J.K. Cody Smith McPhee in The Power of the Dog. That's great. J.K. Simmons as Fred
Fred Marks.
in
William Frawley. Yes.
Fred in Being the Ricardos, which is actually on Amazon Prime right now. So there you go. That's amazing. All right, now we're going to come back to that. The nominees. What are our thoughts? Dune. Dune is off to a good start. I'm glad that it's getting recognition. What are your thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing anything really surprising here. I think, we kind of knew Power of the Dog was going to get a lot. Dune was going to get a lot. So yeah, this is my thing about the Oscars. It's just very predictable.
Yeah. Michael, what do you think? I'm sure you're happy as I am. You have your Sting action figure on hand. What do you think?
Very pleased and not surprised, but very pleased as to the Dune nominations. Really did think the Hans Zimmer score was absolutely phenomenal. But my main thing with the Oscars is let's win that Oscar pool, and now we have our first clinched winner with Kristen Dunst in Best Supporting Actress by campaigning her for a supporting role in what was essentially the lead actress role. That's going to follow the tradition of nominees who were nominated for supporting, but they were really the lead, and then taking it. Sort of Jennifer Connelly in Beautiful Mind takes, it comes to mind because she was obviously the lead actress. There was no lead actress in that movie except her, but they went ahead and campaigned for her to be supporting. In the supporting role, anyone who's secretly the lead actress in the movie and is nominated for supporting, they always win. So I think Kristen Dunst got a lock on Best Supporting Actress.
All right. Well, it's weird. I generally I'm an idiot. I always vote with my heart. You know what I mean? I kind of like I always go with the my picks are the ones I want to win. And then for the Oscar pool, if money is at stake, I tend to go with who I think is actually going to win. And because it is a popularity contest, I also think when it comes to the supporting roles, I think a lot of it comes down to who people would like to see accept an award and would like to listen to their speech. And then when I think it comes to certain categories like best special effects, look back at the history of that award. The best special effects award never goes to the film with actual best special effects. Sometimes that happens. What happens is it goes to the best genre film. It's sort of almost like you look at that category and it's all genre movies that get nominated, right? But it's always the best genre film within that category, not necessarily the film with the actual best special effects. Although best special effects these days, if you're not, if you don't have good special effects in your movie, you're just, what can you say? Look at this. I still have to see Licorice Pizza, says The Sound of One Man Laughing. Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons both win and claim their title as the two-power couple of Hollywood. Ben Grimm says. Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm. I would like to see Ben Grimm on the big screen in a good Fantastic Four movie. TT says, who are the other nominees with Dune? Well, it depends on which category. They're all going to be at oscars.org. Post this, and we'll be going through that list once they're all announced. My friend Eric Weber, actually, if you're on Twitter, I'm going to be joining Eric Weber on his Twitter Spaces after we do our YouTube show here. And here you go. Best special effects, I imagine, would go to Disney for some movie. TT.
Yeah, maybe a Turtles has a chance.
Yeah, I don't think Eternal. See what I mean? This is what I mean. Eternals will. Here's my argument. Eternals is not going to be nominated for best special effects, and the reason is it's not a very good genre movie. It's not good as a superhero movie. It's not a. It's the quality of that is so lacking, and so what you're going to look at is when it comes to best special effects, probably Spider-Man: No Way Home is probably going to not only get nominated, it's probably going to win. It's either that or Dune, right? Like it was the best movie with the best special effects. Think of the category that way. I know that seems strange, but that's the way you want to look at it, right? So there you go.
One of the dark horses in the nominations is The Lost Daughter. I don't know if you've seen that one, but when I watched it, I liked it a lot. I just didn't feel like it was a Oscar worthy film, and apparently it is.
Oh, well, there you go. It's interesting what gets pushed, right?
Yeah.
What actually does get pushed. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I'll see a film and think, oh, that's definitely getting, but it comes out too early, right? It comes out too early in the year, or it doesn't get a campaign. There was a documentary last year that we actually gave an award to at Award This about Danny Trejo called Inmate Number One. And Universal did not want to put money behind doing a campaign. They just were like, it's a decent doc, but they didn't want to spend the money. So we've got international viewers. When is the Oscars? I don't know. That's a good.
It is the 27th.
It's the 27th of March. I think so there you go. And also, I'm sorry, I can't read your name, but it says, "Hello, love your film courage interview." So thank you.
Okay, we're back.
Oh, we're back. Okay, so we're back to the awards. Here we go. The nominations are being announced. So here we are. And we're gonna have more.
Yeah, I think West Side Story is gonna be on the time.
Don't look up. Dune film editing.
Ooh.
King
Tick, tick,
Richard.
boom.
The Power of the Dog. And Tick, Tick, Boom. This is film editing. Oh, well, there you go. That's awesome. And now the next category. Here we go. Oh, man, the banter is just almost insufferable here. I really don't even know what to think. Makeup and hairstyling. Coming to America. Coming to America? Really? Makeup and hairstyling? Cruella. All right, fine. Dune for makeup and hairstyling. The Eyes of Tammy Faye. That makes sense for makeup and hairstyling. And House of Gucci. Of course. Makeup and hairstyling. House of Gucci. There you go.
So Coming to America was nominated for makeup, but it wasn't nominated for costumes?
Right, exactly.
Travesty.
Yeah, well, there you go.
No. That's where the Oscars have now lost all legitimacy. To not nominate Coming to America for costumes is complete and total. That's travesty. Blind people are making these nominations. Blind people.
All right, they're doing this thing where it's, oh gosh, here we go. They have movie lovers. They have movie lovers making the announcements, the nomination announcements here. Oh, let's see. Best animated feature film, the nominees. Animated feature film: Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. So,
yeah, Bobby, how you liking that one?
Unfortunately, The Spine of Night did not get nominated, which I was pulling for. We're gonna get to your super chats too at the next break here. Music original song. Here we go. Be Alive, King Richard. Dos Oruguitas from Encanto. Down to Joy from Belfast. No Time to Die from No Time to Die. There you go. Bond getting some love. And Somehow You Do from Four Good Days. The Sardaukar chant from Dune did not make original song. You know that. I
I
wanted
think
the
that's an
Dune
adapted song.
Sardaukar chant to be. Why did they not push that? For
I don't think
original
that's an
song?
original song.
Okay, documentary short subject. Audible. Lead Me Home. The Queen of Basketball. 3 songs for Benazir, and When We Were Bullies. So we're going to have reviews of those short films on filmthreat.com. If you go to filmthreat.com, we're going to have reviews of all these. Documentary feature, Ascension, great film. Attica, Flea, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, and Writing with Fire. Ascension is an amazing documentary about China, current day China, and a look at the culture, everything from the working class to the upper class. It's Ascension is a beautiful film that I saw in the theater. I was fortunate enough to see it. And now we've got
Visual effects.
visual effects nominees. Remember what I said
Dune.
earlier. Here we go. Dune, visual effects. Free Guy. Oh, No Time to Die.
Oh, Shang-Chi. There you go.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten
And
Rings.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man finally got
And
one.
Spider-Man. No Way Home. See, what did I tell you? If you look
Where's
at those
Eternals,
movies, those are
though?
the best genre movies of the year. If you had to make a list, I think Shang-Chi was the best of the, at least Marvel Studios produced
Yeah.
films.
Definitely.
Here we come. Nominees for cinematography. Here we go. Dune. Nightmare Alley. Yes, Nightmare
That's
Alley. The
Good
Power
film.
of the Dog.
Obviously.
The Tragedy
West
of
Side
Macbeth.
Story.
And West Side Story.
Absolutely winner.
Dune. That's awesome. Dune. Production design. Here we go. Dune.
Nightmare Alley.
There we go. Nightmare Alley. The
Yep.
Power of the Dog. The Tragedy of Macbeth. And West Side Story. There we go. Wow. I feel like there's no surprises in this.
Except for Leslie Jordan's hats.
Oh no. The banter is so uncomfortable. Here we go.
Have we done foreign language?
International feature film.
Here we go.
Drive My Car from Japan. Flea, Denmark. The Hand of God, Italy. Luana, A Yak in the Classroom from Bhutan. And The Worst Person in the World, Norway.
Mm.
There you go. I love Free Guy. I can't believe best visual effects. That's amazing. I love it. It really is. That's a list of the best genre movies of the year, is the best visual effects nominees. So they're now introducing more movie fans, and they're making some of the announcements, which is interesting.
I like
So,
how
there you
Flea
go.
is kind of sneaking into categories. And
Worst Person in the World's getting quite a large footprint.
yeah, how is that nominated? 'Cause I thought it was the
Best
January.
original screenplay. It was best original screenplay and best international feature. It's probably going to win best international.
Nominees for actor in a leading role: Javier Bardem, Being the Ricardos; Benedict Cumberbatch, The Power of the Dog; Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom; Will Smith, King Richard, no surprise;
Yeah.
Denzel Washington, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Wow, that's great. Yeah.
Andrew
I think
Garfield.
Will
That's an
Smith,
interesting one.
Will Smith would be my pick in that category.
Mhm.
If you've not seen King Richard yet, it's fantastic.
Okay. Best actress.
Best actress. Here we go. Here are the nominees: Jessica Chastain, The Eyes of Tammy Faye; Olivia Colman, The Lost Daughter; Penelope Cruz, Parallel Mothers; Nicole Kidman, Being the Ricardos; Kristen Stewart and Spencer. That is not a surprise at all. 2 more categories. Here we go. Best Picture and Directing. Directing. Here we go. The best director nominees are Kenneth Branagh, Belfast. Ryusuke Namaguchi in Drive My Car. Paul Thomas Anderson, Licorice Pizza, getting more love. Chen Campion, The Power of the Dog. Steven Spielberg, West Side Story. Dune getting dissed in that category. No direction nominee for Denis Villeneuve. Now, Best Picture. Here we go. Ready? Belfast. So I don't know if you've seen Belfast yet.
Okay, but, we're at the C's.
I enjoyed it a lot. It felt like a movie made to win Oscars. Coda, nominated for Best Picture, which is currently on Apple TV Plus. If you're one of the people has Don't Look Up, which is on Netflix right now. Drive My Car.
Oh, you're gonna like this one.
These are odd choices for Best Picture. Dune. Yes, Dune, Best Picture. And mispronouncing. Denis Villeneuve is going to hear his name mispronounced so often on Oscar night. King Richard. Oh, that's great. There we go. Licorice Pizza. I'm surprised. Watch Licorice Pizza get a lot of backlash because it's not diverse enough.
No, it's a subject matter.
Nightmare Alley. I'm pulling for that film. That's so great. That's so great.
We're getting close to the essence.
Not seen
Spider-Man show up.
Frightening. The Power of the Dog.
Oh.
West Side Story. West Side Story? Really?
Yeah.
It got such a mixed reaction. What are your thoughts on these? Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up. I mean, I don't know. That's 10 nominees for Best Picture. What are your thoughts on what we've heard? Alan.
I mean,
we're gonna go to the chat after we.
Yeah, I mean, again, no surprises there. It's what I find interesting is the movies that were pre-pandemic and then the movies that were shot during the pandemic.
Right.
I think Dune has the greatest shot because it was shot before the pandemic, had all the money put into it, had all the special effects, and so I mean that is the most cinematic I think of all the movies here. My favorites weren't in there. Being the Ricardos, I think I would like to have seen. And I think we disagree, but I loved West Side Story, and I think that's my favorite to go in.
Right. Well, I'm glad Dune got a lot of love. I am surprised, very surprised, that we didn't get Denis Villeneuve for director. Mm-hmm. I'm very surprised by that. It seems like that was kind of a diss in a way, but a lot of it is probably spreading the love around. Michael, what are your thoughts on what we just heard?
Well, honestly, first thing that we got to acknowledge is we have a complete shutout this year for Wes Anderson and the French Dispatch. Not one single little nomination at all. And honestly, I mean, like I've been on board and then I've gotten off the wagon with Wes Anderson several times, but I really liked French Dispatch. But then again, you throw cartoons near the end, and I'm, like a happy guy right there. It's just sort of like, oh, it's going to go ahead and turn into a Tintin cartoon at the end. Yeah.
Right.
But honestly, my biggest shock was I can't believe Don't Look Up is getting a Best Picture nomination when I didn't. But was there another nomination for Don't Look Up that I missed right there? Because seems like that's. Oh, was it up for direction as well?
Yeah.
Deleted Scenes is saying a lot of snubs. I would agree. A lot of snubs. I think Denis Villeneuve, that was a snub. Shang-Chi got one nomination for visual effects, which if you look at the movies that Marvel Studios put out, I think Eternals was a disappointment. Black Widow, I was not a huge fan of. I think it was Too Little Too Late, and the character we already knew the fate of the character. So I don't know. Shang-Chi to me was the best of it. That's not saying much when Sony kind of schools you on how to make a superhero movie. But I'm not surprised for visual effects. And then let's see, we got more comments
Oh,
here.
we have a super chat that we haven't got.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to get to the super chat. My apologies. Get to the super chat here. Thank you for that super chat. Multi-topic talk. Just showing some support because you're always interesting in the podcast, like Film Courage or Friday Night Tights. Oh, thank you. Friday Night Tights. I get to do that show every once in a while. I really appreciate Gary, Jeremy, Ryan, and the gang. And the gang, keep being the way you are. Thank you, Multi-Topic Talk. We do appreciate your super chat. Just saw Tammy Faye says and enjoyed it. Yeah, the Tammy Faye Baker movie. Andrew Garfield is particularly good in that. And I think that I'm not surprised. Andrew Garfield. There's even talk of, should they bring the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man back? I mean, those two Spider-Man movies were, to me, among the weakest of the Spider-Man films, and I feel like he got the character right in No Way Home. They kind of figured out Andrew Garfield.
I think there's an interesting story with that character, with the
exactly.
with the character that Andrew Garfield brought to No Way Home. There's an interesting story, and even with Tobey Maguire, there's an interesting story there as well.
Yeah, and it's almost like you want to see the continuing story of the other Spider-Man. Biggles Metz for a $5 super chat says, "Just cause." Well, thank you.
That's the best reason.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So let's go through some of these other. Actually, people are chatting in the chat, sort of amongst themselves. So feel free to do that. I'm just glad that Dune got a lot of love. It's really rare that someone's shouting out FNT. Thank you, Kenny Cross. Yes, FNT. I can't see. Oh God, Kenny, now you've got that song in my head. The song, the Friday Night Tights song by Dan Vasc is now in my head. Damn you, Kenny. How could you do that to me? But people are saying I've only seen one of the films up to Best Picture, says Varsity Athlete. People, the chat is on fire. Biggles Met says Dune's director probably didn't get nominated for Best Director because he said he had to race change a character because of Hollywood. I don't think it's because he said that. He actually was in favor of it. They actually told him, I said, look, you got to add diversity to this cast. And he took the most. I would actually say that Liet Kynes' character is kind of inconsequential. He's more of Liet Kynes serves a narrative device, and it's not particularly important. Meaning the gender and or race of that character is not particularly important, although played brilliantly by Max von Sydow in the David Lynch original film, the original Dune movie from the 80s. He was just told that by the studio. It's like, come on, you gotta have some diversity in there. So I don't think it changes much. Let's see. Shane Mackey, is this the same Shane Mackey, the comedian from Atlanta, Georgia, who goes to Dragon Con and hangs out and drinks with me every year? Let me know.
Well,
Shane.
his profile picture looks like a stand-up comic. Shane
Mackey says Billie Eilish, probably a lock for best song. I think that's you, Shane Mackey. Thank you for saying hi.
That's probably, well, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised we don't talk about Bruno wasn't nominated, because that seems to be the most popular song to come out of that movie.
Right. Deleted Scene says, of what I've seen, I'm rooting for Dune. I agree. I would like to see, I mean, I don't know if that's going to change the ratings. I think that the current climate is less politically charged now. I would say that I think that's going to weigh less on the Oscars. I think when you look at the types of films being nominated, it feels like spreading the love, with kind of the biggest films dominating being Dune and West Side Story, which is weird. Alan, Michael, I want to hear your final thoughts as I'm going to be scrolling through the list. So feel free to comment on the list as I scroll. But what are your comments on our Best Picture category here? I'm obviously pulling for Dune, but it's a mixed bag. And Nightmare Alley, Licorice Pizza, and Dune probably my favorites.
Well, again, King Richard.
King Richard.
I mean,
it's amazing, that story, and it's one of those where I almost wish I was watching a documentary about that topic, you know. But what are your thoughts on Best Picture, and we'll go to actor and actress too.
You know, I'll say, I think what I like about Dune, and I think why it has a good shot, is because of all those films, with the exception of maybe Power of the Dog, it's the biggest, most epic looking film, most cinematic film. And I think I've always felt like Oscar kind of goes towards those as opposed to the kind of smaller dramas. And
Right.
you know, Dune has that, and I think that's really the only film this year to give us that you know, it's not as CG as you think it is either.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, there's more practical effects in Dune that gives it, like, it grounds it. It
Like
didn't.
Ben-Hur, you know, it's that feeling I got.
Yeah, it's not that where you can kind of spot you know, you can tell that it didn't feel too digital, right?
Mhm.
Michael, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think we can pretty much do a lock on Dune to get it because of the Argo effect. By not having the director nominated for Best Director, you know, like, it will allow the Academy to go ahead and give someone like Jane Campion Best Director for Power of the Dog, but then turn around and give Dune Best Picture. So honestly, I think that it was actually in Dune's favor not to get nominated for Best Director, because that way they can go ahead and use the Best Director award as essentially the award for the most prestigious movie and who directed it, but at the same time be able to go ahead and get critical acclaim meets crowd pleasing with Dune. I think it's a perfect choice for Best Picture, and I think it's a lock. For Best Adapted Screenplay, was Nightmare Alley in Best Adapted Screenplay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Let me go to it here. I'll
Was it?
scroll down. Here we go. No, it's not
Oh wow.
no, it's not. It's not nominated.
Okay, now that I have to call foul on, because I was very hesitant about Nightmare Alley. I saw it this weekend because we're not doing theaters. But you know, like, I was very hesitant because I think Nightmare Alley, the book, is one of the best, is probably the great American novel. It's one of the best books of the 20th century. The guy only wrote one book and then he committed suicide. And then, you know, like, of course, the Tyrone Power movie is one of the best noirs of all time. Nightmare Alley was a perfect adaptation of not just the book, but also the Tyrone Power movie, which you can see with the ending where they go ahead and they do the ending of the book, and then they do the ending of the Tyrone Power movie, but are able to go ahead and mix it up in a delightful way. So that not being nominated, you know, like, for Best Adapted Screenplay, crime of the century, along with Canada not getting Best Foreign Language movie for Drunken Birds.
Well,
You know, like, they had that in there, but the main thing that I'm, you know, like, looking at for adapted screenplay, was Dune an adaptation of the book, or was Dune an adaptation of the David Lynch movie?
well, it's a little bit of both, but I'd say it's a more faithful adaptation of the book that borrows some of the ideas and visuals from David Lynch's Dune. It's like David Lynch did the first draft of the movie, and Denis Villeneuve benefited from that because then the audience kind of knew Dune a little bit. It became more in the pop culture zeitgeist, where you're like, what is this weird sci-fi movie Dune from the 80s? And a lot of people checked it out. As for Nightmare Alley, I 100% agree with you. I think it's a vastly underrated film. I can't wait to buy that movie when I don't know if it's out on DVD or
No, the black and white version just came out. So
the black and white version no, wait a sec. Is it out on digital? Can I just get it on digital? Because
I don't
why do
think
you want to
so.
watch it on digital? Go to the theater and see it.
well, I will, but I mean it's
I'm sure it'll be available, but
it blew my mind. And it's like two movies. The first half of the movie is kind of one movie, then the second half is, and both are tragedies. To me, it's just absolutely an underrated movie, and it is for adapted screenplay. You're absolutely right, Michael, 100%. That's a diss. There are a lot of snubs. Should I scroll down, or what are some of your other thoughts here?
Should we go to chat too? Or?
Animated feature kind of it bugs me a little, only because I feel like the same studios always get nominated for that.
Well, Flea is the delight to see in there. Just something
Flea-
really different.
Yeah, Flea is the outlier. I just feel like there's almost a sameness to the types of films that get nominated. I was pulling for The Spine of Night, which The Spine of Night actually, the film
Yeah.
behind that movie actually mounted an Oscar campaign to get the movie nominated. It didn't, obviously, but the fact that they've nominated Flea amongst those movies, Flea might actually be the winner, only because Encanto, Luca, Mitchell's, Raya, we've seen those kinds of animated films before, those very family friendly, and Flea is a very different and a standout in the animated feature category.
Encanto's going to win. We know.
You think so? Yeah,
I think it's a lock. There's.
You think so?
Yeah, Flea's not going
All
to win. Encanto's going to win.
Well, we'll notice. We should do a live stream for the Oscars, the night of the Oscars.
I should apply for credentials and see if.
I mean, you can.
It'll be the most boring night of my life, but
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we should do a live stream the night of the Oscars, and we'll just sort of have it on. We'll do a watch party for the Oscars.
Hey, remember that one time we did a live stream of the Oscars?
Yeah, well, we're gonna do that this year. We'll do a live stream of the Oscars.
No, I'm saying that one time
that one time. Oh, that was
the first award. This
was that 2019. It
no.
wasn't the first. That was not the first. In any case, let's go through some of these other nominations. I want to talk about supporting here. The actors in a supporting role. What are your thoughts on this? Wait, I can hear something in the background. Does someone have their TV on?
No, for some reason my Alexa went off. Okay,
but let's supporting role. What are your thoughts on this?
Let me see. I was actually surprised Rita Moreno wasn't nominated, but I'm not. Judi Dench, I like her. That's one of those. It feels like it's more of a nod to her career than it is maybe the performance of the show.
True. J.K. Simmons, I'm really happy. I grew up watching I Love Lucy, so seeing his portrayal of Fred, and especially the off-camera portrayal, right, who the man really was hysterical. And you know, JK just is able to add gravitas and likability almost like immediately with any role he embodies. So I'd like to see JK in that, but you know,
I think it'll be down to Jesse Plemons and JK Simmons on that one.
Yeah.
Which one's the Power of the Dog nomination for that category?
That's Cody Smith McPhee, Jesse Plemons.
But was he one of those, the spooky boy?
Yeah.
Little spooky boy in there? Yeah, no, I think
that's the official description. But yeah,
I think Spooky Boy's got himself a chance because once again, it's usually it only works with Best Supporting Actress. But if you know, like the supporting actor role is enough of a lead in terms of the way the story goes, then that sometimes can go ahead and bring the, you know, like performance a little bit more attention. You know, like the performance is important, but the, you know, like size of the role and the gravity of the role in the story does have some sort of influence in this category.
Yeah, I'm going through the comments. I'm just throwing them up as we, you know, as we're chatting here. Varsity Athlete says Dune might be like Lord of the Rings if we get 3 Dune films. They give all the big awards after the final film. It's possible if they do. My understanding is they're doing the second half of the book as Dune Part 2, and then they're doing Dune Messiah, which is sort of almost a novella. It's very short compared to the original Dune book by Frank Herbert. But if they do Dune Messiah as the third film, it doesn't end well. Like, just to warn you, if you haven't read Dune Messiah, which is sort of the epilogue to what happened, the events in Dune, which is your traditional hero's journey. And then Dune Messiah is kind of like Revenge of the Sith.
Is that with the twins? Is that the one about the twins, or
no? That's Children of Dune.
See, that's to me that was the most interesting of the
well, Dune it's the most, but Dune Messiah is sort of the you know, telling Paul Atreides story, and Dune Messiah to me, when you look at it, it's you're gonna see the parallels and how close it is to Revenge of the Sith. I really think I remember Dune Frank Herbert was upset when Star Wars came out in 1977. It borrows a lot. Star Wars borrows a lot from Dune, so which is interesting. So we've got
Now,
great comments here. Dan
can
Blackroyd
you see the
says,
Dune
that
T-shirt, the
scenario,
Film Threat
let me
Dune
finish this
T-shirt?
comment.
Well, hold on, we
Dan
got
Blackroyd says that scenario before is kind of like Life of Pi winning over Argo for directing with Ang Lee, but Argo winning Best Picture. Yeah, I like that 4D chess that you explained, Michael.
Yep. I think it's going to be Jane Campion, Best Director, and then Dune's going to get Best Picture. Can you see my Film Threat Dune shirt?
Oh, I have that shirt as well. Love that shirt.
Here is the Mind Killer, Film Threat.
Well, that's not that's probably one of the best. That litany of fear in Dune is something that when I read it when I was in high school, and that litany of fear that actually got me through a lot of difficult times as a kid. Just having that in my head, fear is the mind killer, right? Like that.
Oh, yeah.
I've always loved that, So one of the great things that came from that book. I think we're going to wrap it up soon, but I want to say, Shane Mackey, they're talking in the chat. Hey, Bobby, almost didn't see your shout out there. They're talking in the chat amongst themselves. This is
Summer of Soul.
Yeah. Well, there you go. William Demarest appeared on the Lucy show right before he died. That's interesting. Larry. But I don't know. I think this year what's going to be very interesting is if they announce a host, who the host is, which is going to tell you the tone. I think they should just have the 3 Spider-Man host, Toby, Andrew, and Tom Holland. Why don't they just have them share hosting duties? It would first of all, it would bring the ratings back. It would double the ratings from last year. It would, it would show that the Oscars and the Academy need to show they have a sense of humor again. They have a sense of humor, and we have not seen that. Every year. It's like a race to see, who's it's all the virtue signaling, right? Like we become so like used to it. It's like, oh, they're just going to give a lecture, right? What's the cause going to be? Like, stealing milk from cows. Joaquin Phoenix, his speech for the Joker, which was just felt weird. It's not like that was top of mind for people, like thinking, I don't know, should we just be drinking almond milk? Like it just was such a strange, speech. My favorite Oscar speech ever, and I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, was Steven Soderbergh, who did 2 smart things. Steven Soderbergh's speech, he said, 1, I'm dedicating the speech to everyone who does something creative. This is every day, gets up every day and does something creative. And also he said, because everyone gets up and thanks a bunch of people's names where you have no idea who these people are. They mean something to the people being thanked, but mean, nothing to the vast audience. So you're basically just hearing someone list off names of people for the most part you don't know. And he said, I'm going to thank them later. I have a list of people I want to thank, and I'll be thanking them later. But what I want to do is dedicate this Oscar to people who get up every day and do something creative. And he gave a speech about creativity, and it was he was there to give a speech to inspire other people watching the awards. Steven Soderbergh was not there to lecture about a cause or to virtue signal about what a great person he is for helping the rainforest or whatever the causes are. I think living a virtuous life by example is probably the best way to influence, rather than telling someone they're a bad person for not having particular certain views. I think that like audiences have just become vastly turned off to that. What are your thoughts? We'll start with Alan and then go to Michael on how the awards are going to change. The Academy must be aware that 1, people don't like the presentation. 2, they're tired of being lectured at. And 3, the ratings are tanking. If they're any lower than last year, they're really the relevance of the Oscars is going to be tanking.
I like the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, like the Olympics are not doing well. I think there are a lot of political reasons for that also. But what are your thoughts on the presentation? Do you think the Academy are going to be making some? They always talk about making changes, But
well, to me, there's only one person who can guarantee boost the ratings on Oscar night, and that's Ricky Gervais. We've been talking about it.
true.
That, I mean, because they're doomed. They're doomed because the ABC, the Academy is not. They're not going to take any risks whatsoever, and therefore it's a boring show.
Right.
You know, to not have a host, to not have someone who's got a little edge. You know, it's either going to be Ricky Gervais or Kevin Hart. Bring back one of those two if you want ratings.
Well, 100% that's not going to happen.
Yep.
But the Academy plays it safe, which is always a disappointment. Michael, any thoughts on the presentation of the awards?
Once again, the main culprit of why the show runs so long and why the show is so damn boring is because of the constant reliance on clip shows. Let's go ahead and spend 10 minutes watching Clark Gable kissing in the rain. Don't need to see it. I know there's been movies that have been made in the past, but the thing is that people want to see awards. They want to see the next award, and then they want to see the next award. Going ahead and cutting out as much of the fat in between the awards giving has to be the first, object, because if you're not at Best Picture before midnight on the East Coast, you're in serious, serious trouble. So, and also I like it when they go ahead and I think the song category, it's good to have the songs in their entirety. I remember there was a medley year. I think it was the year Magnolia was up for best song, where they just had people, like 5 quick clips of the songs on a rotating stage or something. I think it's a good idea to give the full songs, but besides that, nothing else. Don't do a special award to anybody, or governor's award, or do clips from the technical awards. Just get as many awards out there. And I think last year they did a pretty good job in terms of timing out speeches to go ahead and make sure speeches were a lot shorter, except for the smaller awards, to go ahead and let them have their say. But yeah, my main thing is go away clip show. Don't want to see any more clip shows about great moments of African Queen or Casablanca or anything like that.
But first of all, Michael, they're going to do that. It doesn't matter. They're going to do those like the movies. We love the movies, and it's sort of this celebrating the art form. That's always going to be there. That's the old Academy saying, remember old movies? And that's the purpose of that, is to show the history of the movies. That's never going away. That's always going to be in place. So I think they should freshen it up a bit. You're right. Like African Queen or Casablanca. Do we really need to see those? How about some movies from the 70s or the 80s or the 90s even? I mean, come on, that would be nice. But let's go through the nominations by film. Someone said in the chat, Power of the Dog. You guessed correctly. The Power of the Dog. Let me go through this real quick, okay. Alan. The Power of the Dog has 12 nominations. That's Netflix. Not surprised. Dune, Warner Brothers, 10 nominations. That's pretty amazing. Belfast has 7. West Side Story with 7. That surprises me. King Richard with 6. Don't Look Up, which is Netflix. And I'm sorry, I said earlier King Richard was on Apple TV Plus. It's not. I get the streaming services messed up. It's on HBO Max. King Richard. Don't Look Up, also Netflix. Drive My Car, 4 nominations. Nightmare Alley, 4 nominations. I'm not surprised. I am surprised, like you, Michael. Adapted screenplay. That's a travesty that didn't get that. Yeah. Amazon Studios with 3 nominations for Being the Ricardos. Coda, which is an Apple original film, which actually was a Sundance movie, oddly enough. You can see that on Apple TV Plus, along with my favorite series I'm watching on Apple TV Plus now, Mythic Quest. If you've not seen Mythic Quest, it's a great show about the behind the scenes of a video game company. All right, aside, the Coda's on there. Encanto, Walt Disney, Flea from Neon with 3 nominations. Licorice Pizza, also from MGM United Artists, has 3 nominations. The Lost Daughter, Netflix, 3. No Time to Die has 3 nominations. Okay, it's always song. I think Bond always gets song. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like you can.
It's a law. It's
It's a
a
safe
law now.
and visual effects. That's really interesting. That it would get visual effects.
And
So there you go.
Shang-Chi got one. So
Shang-Chi got one.
yeah,
So there you go.
I'm pretty happy.
The Tragedy of Macbeth, 3 nominations. Cruella, Walt Disney with 2 nominations. The Eyes of Tammy Faye, 2 nominations. Parallel Mothers, 2. Tick Tick Boom from Netflix. Andrew Garfield, 2 nominations. The Worst Person in the World from Neon, 2 nominations. But interesting, The Power of the Dog at the top with 12 nominations, and Dune with 10. And so if you're a Netflix subscriber, you can check out Don't Look Up and The Power of the Dog. Don't Look Up really surprises me. And also The Lost Daughter is on Netflix, as well as Tick Tick Boom.
We have a
Don't
super
Look Up
chat. by the way.
surprises me. What were you going to say, Alan? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We do have a
wanted to
super
do that
chat.
list.
If you want to get to it,
Sorry, what?
we have a super chat. If you
Oh, we have a super chat. Oh, of course. Well, thank you. Cannell's missing Y chromosome. This is someone who watches Friday Night Tights. This is someone who watches Cannell's missing Y chromosome. Just for being you, have a nice day. A $2 super chat. Hey, we appreciate
thank you. Have a nice
that.
day.
Thank you so much, Cannell's missing Y chromosome. Oh my God. I don't know if you watch Ryan Cannell's channel. He RK Outpost. Just look up RK Outpost. Very entertaining channel covering all the news that we don't generally cover. But who do when I vote and there's money at stake, I vote with my head, but really there's the ones I'm pulling through with my heart. And has a 99-cent super sticker. Wait, I didn't even know you can buy super stickers on the
super
YouTube
It's
channel.
a whole new world.
I didn't even know that. TT, thank you. TT says Shang-Chi felt too much like first scene equals setup for joke, second scene equals punchline, literally punchline in that movie. I thought it was the most entertaining because it was mostly a traditional, the problem is the protagonist story with a lot of these Marvel movies now. The protagonist is the least interesting character, right? It's like the story of his mother and father and their tragic romance is actually more interesting than Shang-Chi. And the worst thing is about a lot of these more recent Marvel films now, with the exception of Spider-Man, is that they seem to just be setting up events in other movies or Marvel or Disney Plus shows that I don't care about. Like tell a story. You can get one moment. I think that Iron Man 2 sort of showed how that just doesn't work, right? Iron Man 2 was like, this is all this setup for other stuff that's happening in the Marvel universe. Just tell one good story and you can kind of have a reference or, the post-credit scene. So there you go. But that's thank you for the 99-cent super chat. And as Deleted Scene says, as much as I loved Dune, I believe they'll give it to Power of the Dog.
Yeah.
Dune is going to win it a lot, but yeah. Well,
I feel like The Power of the Dog is the most overrated of these movies. I liked it, but I didn't think it was that great of a movie. I feel like this is the what I call the stereotypical Oscar pick. It's the movie that feeds into the voting base of the Academy, and I think that's why it's getting the prominence, is getting as many awards as it is. And I don't know. I feel like there are better films on that list.
Michael,
for Power of the Dog, the ending is what really sold it to me. It's like one of those movies like Don't Look Back, where the ending is so good it makes you go ahead and like the movie retroactively because it was kind of a chore to get through. I'm really curious as to the cinematography race, because Power of the Dog has those great shots with the mountains in the background over and over and over again. And I think that is going to go ahead and definitely make it a contender. But in terms of Best Picture winner, no. I think Dune is the one that is more traditionally epic, but in a not exactly traditional way. And I think that's going to be the one that is going to be embraced for Best Picture, especially considering, once again, Power of the Dog is a Netflix movie.
Well, let's go on to, we got a couple topics that I want to discuss. the Oscar nominees for 2022. Does the box office mean anything? What are
Clearly
your thoughts
not.
on that? And in the chat, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Does the box office mean anything? I think if you look at the list this year, like there are some films in here that actually did well at the box office or well in this current era. I don't think you can judge this past year as a traditional year. But what are your thoughts? Does the box office mean anything when it comes to the nominees this year?
The thing that has always bothered me about the Academy Awards is it's again the voting base basically telling you these are the movies you really should be liking, because that is that discrepancy between the box office and what winds up getting nominated. We like Dune, we like Spider-Man, but really, we're being lectured and told these are the films you really should be watching.
Yeah. Michael, any thoughts on how box office may have impacted these nominees and maybe the winners?
Honestly, this year, because box office was still, like essentially there, not there, sort of like a bad TV signal where it cuts out and then cuts back in. Box office was, like such a, like rare and elusive creature. I don't know whether it really plays into it all that much this year because, like you said, like there's very few that actually even had box office. The Bond movie made best visual effects, you said. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that probably was from all the masterful having to CGI the product placement out, because didn't they have product placement for products that were like 3 years old, and then they had to go back in and then redo like wristwatches and things like that to make sure that they had the latest version. That I think is actually notable for special effects. When you can go ahead and correct the product placement for a movie that's been sitting on the shelf for 3 years. Yeah, good job, buddy.
Okay, you sold me the winner.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that the box office will have an impact. If anything, I think it will have a negative impact, meaning the films that did really well at the box office, I think are, it actually hurts them. And movies that did not do well at the box office, the Academy voters are like, well, we should bring more attention to that movie. I think actually West Side Story will benefit from awards because it did poorly at the box office, but it'll be a movie that the Academy loves and wants you to go see because it got overlooked at the box office. Some quick comments from the chat here. I want to thank Larry for your $5 super chat. Hi, Chris. Always enjoyed your DVDs Day on Old G4 and now on your channels and on FNT. Your love of indie movies shows through a lot. Best wishes. Thank you, Larry, for the $5 super chat. And some quick comment here from Snack Play Love. Virtual box office is king now. Streaming is greater than seats. That's interesting comment. Yeah, I do think that streaming has an impact, at least in terms of, I think more of these movies will be seen, right? The Power of the Dog. Most people have Netflix because they get Netflix free or discounted because they have a T-Mobile is their phone service, so they get Netflix. This is my theory anyway, is a lot of these streaming services people don't have, but they have them for free. I know a lot of people have like Disney Plus, right? They have that one, so so
Hulu and Amazon,
or Amazon. Everyone kind of has Amazon Prime because it's default. You get it with because you get Amazon because you want to get the free shipping or whatnot. So I don't know. But yeah, I want to get someone in the chat mentioned a topic. Any other final thoughts on box office? Does it mean anything?
No.
Okay, there you go.
It doesn't.
Not really. I mean, Oscar has always gone ahead and let the box office winners walk away with a couple of special effects awards. And then and then try to get, the films that they think deserve more attention. Because honestly, that's also another point of the awards. If we were it's like where they interviewed the folks at the Magic Johnson Theater, and everyone had never seen any of the Best Picture nominees, but they had seen Alien versus Predator, and they had seen White Chicks.
So, let's talk
about. This is our chance to find out about other movies other than Alien versus Predator or White Chicks, which honestly, both of those movies were better than any of the Best Picture nominees for those respective years. Right?
Yeah. Let's talk about the Oscar nominations for 2022. Where the hell is Spider-Man? Spider-Man got what, one nomination? They didn't.
Did it get a? Oh yeah, it got no. What nomination did? Effects, right?
Yeah. So it got So they didn't put the nominees that only got one nomination in the nominations.
It's like the supporting actor award. Look, there's your bone. You got it.
Yeah. But it's I don't know. Yeah, where the hell is Spider-Man? Again, this is the question of our last topic, which is box office. When you do well at the box office, you do bad when it comes to awards. If you do terrible at the box office and nobody sees your movie, you're going to do great when it comes to award season, because part of the purpose of the awards is to actually is to, bring attention to the movie. Spider-Man No Way Home doesn't need, any additional attention. It's doing quite well currently at the box office, right? It's still in the top 10. It didn't get number one this weekend. Of course, Jackass Forever dominated at the box office. You can see Alan and I did a review of Jackass Forever on the Film Threat YouTube channel. Check out, make sure, I haven't even said, like, share, subscribe to the Film Threat YouTube channel. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, share our videos, and click that like button. Click the like button. More that means our videos will get shared more. We appreciate when you do that. And I don't know, I just think Spider-Man isn't on the list because it did, it isn't on the list more than once because it did so well at the box office. That's just, that's just the way it is. So, but look, you can support us and buy something. You can buy, like, Michael and I each have, well, I have this award, this shirt, but there are Film Threat shirts. We have Film Threat mugs.
If you want to stay COVID safe.
Yes. Yeah. Or if you want to, we're still doing those gaiters. Look, people will buy them. That's cool. But we hope that you'll like, share, and subscribe. I want to comments from the chat. Who are we picking for Best Picture? Let's just do the Best Picture pick. Who do we think is going to win for Best Picture? And let's be honest about this, right? Who's going to win? Who's going to win for Best Picture? There's what do I want to win? Well,
we know what you want. Yeah.
I want Dune to win for Best Picture, right? Of course they put an ad right in the middle of all the nominees, but it's Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story. Is it going to be, Michael, you had like a 4D chess kind of idea.
Yes. And honestly, it's not even a race. Dune has such a lock on this, with the exception of, no, I don't even think there's even a threat by West Side Story, which is the only other movie out of that list that I see as some sort of Best Picture threat. And I think the chance to go ahead and free up Best Director on the Best Director category by giving it to a Best Picture that doesn't have Best Director on it is going to be too large of a temptation. Plus, also, Dune is everything that like the Academy could want. It made money at the box office, but not too much money. It was popular with audiences, but it was also popular with critics. Like they had also, like there's more to come. Yeah, I think Dune is pretty much a lock for Best Picture.
Well, that's what our chat thinks. We've got like 10 chats here that everyone is just saying Dune one after the other. I do think think if I could just say Dune, I think does have a shot at Best Picture. One, for the reasons that you described, but also because it's the one that everyone can settle on. It's sort of like if you ever find yourself at a Golden Corral restaurant, it's not because anyone wanted to go there. It's because it was the only thing that everyone agreed to, that it's like, all right, fine, we'll go to Golden Corral, because there's some kind of food there for everyone, but everyone,
and a fight may break out at the end of it.
Everyone is saying Dune, and Respirator 3 says,
I'll say this about Dune. If Dune loses, it will lose because it's a genre film, and then it will go to The Power of the Dog.
That's exactly right. So there you go. is laughing. And yeah, everyone is pretty much saying
Yeah,
Dune.
dude.
You know, I would really like to see that. I feel like you know, Star Wars was robbed in 1977. I would really like to see I would have liked to have seen Star Wars, the original Star Wars, not the special edition, win Best Picture that year. Annie Hall won. And of course, Woody Allen did not show up to the awards. He played jazz that night. We have Russ Man with a $10 super chat says, "Hail to the threat." Well, thank you, Russ Man. We appreciate that. We appreciate all your support so we can continue to champion indie film, which is what we do. I'm curious about that's why no one watches the Oscars. Exactly. Larry says in previous Oscars, winning movies would be released to theaters way after they were gone from original run. That's interesting. That's right. They would kind of get a second life. They would get a second release around the Oscars, right? I think that happens. That does happen in the Los Angeles area, but pretty much only in the Los Angeles area does that happen. It doesn't. It's not, the rest of the country doesn't get the benefit of that. I think that's one of the great things about that I've enjoyed living in this area is not only some of the best screens to see movies on, but also you'll get those. Why is this still playing in theaters? Well, because they're playing to the locals, right? The industry effectively. So there you go. Here we go. Wow. We've got Luis E. Salgado Martinez says, "Hails, greetings from Puerto Rico. Chris Gore rules." Thank you, Luis E. Salgado Martinez. And I'm sure I'm saying it the best I can. I took 2 years of Spanish in college, so I do my best. I can understand Spanish better than I can speak it. That's all I'll say. But and also so glad Kristen Stewart got in, says Rishab Karki. Yeah, I mean, I always thought that was a lock from the beginning. It's kind of like, you know, you take a role like that, Princess Diana, a beloved, you know, person in real life who met a tragic end. It's kind of made for, you know, like an actress to step into that role. And Kristen Stewart, she did a great job. You know, I mean, honestly, she really did great. Another super chat here. Thank you. Deleted Scenes, $2. Hail Film Thread. Thanks for getting up early. Well, yes. I got up at 4:30.
Yes. I got up way before that.
Oh, you did?
Well, you know, it's like I can't fall asleep. I can't be late because I'm sleeping. So
I always wake up.
Get me up.
I always wake up just before the alarm goes off. It's like, and then I look and I'm like, the alarm's going to go off in 2 minutes. Is it something with your brain that's kind of like programmed?
Yeah,
I don't know,
for me, I know it was. You know, the thing about the Kristen Stewart thing, I think this is the trend. If you want to get an Oscar nomination, is to portray someone else. Right. You know, Nicole Kidman, Jessica Chastain. You know, we had what was it? You know, Judy Garland, Renee Zellweger.
Yeah.
You know, you're almost guaranteed to get nominations by doing these kind of roles.
And yeah, just to reframe what you said that the way to get an Oscar is to play someone else. That's what everyone does. That's what
play a real person. That's what I'm saying.
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
You know how early I woke up.
I know. I was gonna say, please blame the like 4:30 a.m. that we got up to do this. But looking at the Best Picture, I think that Dune really has a shot based on that logic, Michael, and the chat tends to agree. Here's the problem: is the Academy doesn't care what you think, right? They just don't. Yeah. I think for actor is going to be tough. I think it could be Benedict Cumberbatch just because, you know, Power of the Dog with 12 nominations. Although I don't know, Will Smith is someone that I think if you haven't seen King Richard yet, I believe it's on HBO Max. It's a role of a lifetime for Will Smith, and I don't know. I thought the way he played it, I thought was amazing. So that's who my heart wants is Will Smith. Who I think is going to win is probably going to be Benedict Cumberbatch. Any thoughts on actor?
Yeah, you know, again, my frustration with this is it's rarely about who actually gave the best performance.
Yes.
These lead actor roles is about their body of work now, and that's the talk that goes in leading up to it, and it really should be about the performance of. I mean, the most surprising performance is Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom. I mean, who knew he could sing, and who knew he could pull this role off, and he did, and that'll obviously get overlooked. No, I don't think people saw enough of Denzel Washington to really appreciate his performance there. There's so much controversy behind Javier Bardem playing Desi Arnaz.
What's the controversy?
Because Javier Bardem is not Latino, he's Hispanic. He's from Spain, and
oh my God, are we doing that as a reason?
Yes,
I'm really.
You have no idea. My Facebook feed is just all about that, and it's like
I really feel that argument is dumb and it needs to end. It's Scarlett Johansson talked about, like, look, that's the whole point of an actor. You play someone you are not.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when she was up to play a role of a trans person,
mm-hmm.
and they didn't want her to have that role. The point of an actor is to be someone you are not. You cannot, you know what? Robert Downey Jr., he didn't invent the Iron Man suit. Chris Evans doesn't really have superpowers.
Yeah, but he wasn't nominated for it.
Well, all I'm saying is it is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
That argument is stupid. It's from small-minded people that are keeping up with sort of the lame trends in the cultural zeitgeist. And do you want someone to be as close? Yeah, but Javier Bardem is an absolutely brilliant actor. He's also not a serial killer, because he brilliantly played one in the God. Why am I spacing on the name of the movie?
Country for Old Men.
Yeah, No Country for Old Men. He's never murdered anybody. Should we get real murderers? I mean, when you go down that logic, the logic that's being argued by the stupid people that make that argument, it's a dumb, you realize it's a moronic argument.
Mm-hmm.
It truly is a moronic argument.
So Benedict Cumberbatch will win.
Yeah, it's in a way that Trini Gamer says it's a lifetime of achievement. You're right. I actually do think, no one comes when it comes to the best supporting roles. It could be your first role, or you can be like, it's sort of, you can be new to the industry, right? So for supporting, but for a best actor, best actress for that role, it is not only based on the current role that you played, but on your past body of work. So. Mm-hmm. So that makes a lot of sense. And someone said,
Cumberbatch won before? Has Cumberbatch won on an Oscar before?
No.
Oh, well, then he's got it.
Yeah.
I think he's in the running. I will say this. So
I mean, of this list, I think that one makes the most sense.
Well, and this is something we almost never see, is a comment saying Alan is right. Cameron Belt says Alan is right. Leonardo DiCaprio only won finally because of the backlog of the good roles he had.
Alan's always right.
Mark O'Brien says thinking they might give Dune Best Picture for the third of the eventual trilogy, like they did with Lord of the Rings. That makes sense, Mark O'Brien. If they get to a third Dune film, that third Dune novel, Dune Messiah, which you should absolutely, if you want to know generally what's going to happen in Dune, read, of course, Dune by Frank Herbert, the book, right? It gets to about halfway in the book, the first movie. But that Dune Messiah is Revenge of the Sith. It's so similar. It's people are going to say, hey, the third Dune movie copied Revenge of the Sith. And it's like, no. Other way around, folks. And there are some surprising things that people will be shocked that happen in that movie. But George Lucas liberally borrowed from the Dune series of books for, not just the original Star Wars 1977, but also for Revenge of the Sith.
Surfing on lava? They got the surfing on lava in the end in the Dune book?
That doesn't happen in Dune Messiah, but things are very similar. But let's talk about.
I'll say this about Lord of the Rings, is that you knew the third movie was going to come out. There was no question that they were going to get to a third film. I think there's a question whether Dune will do that, and so I think that's why they held off till the Return of the King to give them the awards.
Right. But that was so great. They had us like. he was amazing. It was really a magical time when like,
Yeah.
oh wow, it's another Lord of the Rings movie. It was like became a tradition, well, at least for 3 years.
And they were so consistently good. That was the thing.
Yeah, I agree. The third one only bothers me because I feel like they released the DVD special edition with extra scenes in the theaters as I feel like it could have, it has like 9 endings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my only complaint. It's not a bad complaint. It's just like, it's fine. But Dune, if they get to Dune Messiah, God, it'll be
We'll be duned out.
it'll be so dark. I mean, already the first movie's pretty dark. The first movie almost kicks off like this is the Empire Strikes Back, right? Lots of bad things happen to a lot of different people, and it's not looking good for Paul Atreides, right? The second movie kind of makes up for that, and then the third Dune, if they get to it, I really hope that they do. It would be bold if they did Dune Messiah. Be absolutely bold if they did that, and it would be a great sort of closing the chapter on Paul Atreides. And I think it'll be surprising to people. Fletcher Williams says, "Hello, Mr. Gore. Hello back." I'm reading all the chat. Mark O'Brien says, "Love Revenge of the Sith. Definitely picking up the books soon. Read all the LOTR books after Fellowship came out. Yeah, the Lord.
Yeah,
of the
I
Rings.
did too. Yeah.
I've not read the books, but I'm not a fan of fantasy. I am more of a science fiction guy. I'm Star Trek, Star Wars, Foundation. I could go through like I like, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I've seen the movie and read the book. Although interestingly, the book was being written as the movie was being made. So interesting history on that. But I'm more of a sci-fi guy. Logan's Run, that kind of thing. I'm not a fantasy guy. If there's sword, it's got to be really good if there's swords and sandals in it, right? But I did love Gladiator, and I love the Lord of the Rings film, and I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings, and I love those films. Will I read the book?
I loved Peter Jackson's acceptance speech for Lord of the Rings because he went ahead and made sure to go ahead and say thank you for the Academy for overlooking my earlier work with bad taste in Meet the Feebles.
Oh my God, that's true because those movies are so weird. They're almost like trauma movies. I mean, they're great. Meet the Feebles is so bizarre.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just, and I love Peter Jackson's early stuff, right? That was his film school. So I'm not a genre fan. I'm just after a good story. TT, you're absolutely right. I think seriously, good story trumps everything.
Yeah.
And that's why I think modern Hollywood, and I would say this with the nominations, I would say, here's a question. Are these nominees, do the Oscars feel woke based on these nominees? I'd say a couple things like West Side Story, but what are your thoughts? Are these based on the nominations?
I don't think so. I mean, of the movies that came out last year, I don't. Maybe Don't Look Up has that political bent that they're wanting.
Well, Don't Look Up.
I think King Richard deserves to be there. I don't think that's a diversity pick.
Right.
Yeah. Power of the Dog. That would be my only spot as maybe being the woke choice.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think that based on the choices it's a good mix, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like Ejek says Star Wars is science fantasy, 2001 is science fiction. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, technically that's true. Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Mark O'Brien says finished Revenge of the Sith novel last month. Actually, amazing. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I have heard that. I've heard that the novelizations are worthwhile. So that one
are they canon?
Right.
The novelization for Scarface should be taught in every high school in the country. That is an amazing novelization because it goes through Tony Montana's escape from Cuba, his entire past, including this great bank robbery where he's wearing a dress. The Scarface novelization, once again, should be taught to every sophomore high school class in the country. Required reading.
That's funny. I'm in. I don't know. This is going to sound weird. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this to brag, but I am in a bunch of documentaries. I'm in Doomed about the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie. I'm in The People versus George Lucas. If my IMDb, if I got paid to be in documentaries, I'd be in great shape. I'm not, but there's a documentary that I did an interview for a couple years ago. It's not out yet, but it's about movie novelizations. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. I followed their Instagram. I think it's called Tied to Film, and it's about the movie novelization industry, how movie novelizations are made. I used to read movie novelizations when I was a kid. Mainly, I read movie novelizations specifically because I wanted to. I wanted, it's sort of like the only way to get deleted scenes, right? Because this is before DVD, right? So I was a kid, I would read the novelization of the movie Alien, and there were extra scenes with Captain Dallas, right? Because it's based on the original. Generally, the movie novelizations are based on the original shooting script, or sometimes the original assembly of the movie, not the final cut that goes to theaters. So it was the only way when you were a kid to, like, when I was a kid at least, to be able to like get deleted scenes for movies, was to read those novelizations.
Well, before VCRs, that was the way to see the movie again, was to get the novel.
Exactly.
Yes.
But so there's a documentary coming out about movie novelizations, and I haven't even seen the movie, and I'm recommending it. But their Instagram, I think it's called Tide. Just, you can look it up. But it's gonna be I think it's gonna be amazing, because they interview people who do movie novelizations. So I cannot wait. Fletcher Williams says Oscars are trying to scale back the backlash. I completely agree. When you look at these nominations, like, yeah, there's certain films that could be considered in a woke category, but they're not like, super virtue signaling in that. It's like, I feel like they've scaled it back. There's a good mix of commercial film that did well at the box office, and then movies that tanked. The real surprise to me is West Side Story. I thought,
no. I mean, I had to push back on that.
Really?
I love this movie. I love it. In terms of cinematography, I think it should win cinematography. If you look at shot by shot what it's done, it's the perfect. The problem with West Side Story is no one wanted it. There was no reason to make the movie. That said, it's still a really good movie. It's still a great movie in my eyes. I've seen it more than Dune. So, well,
Larry says Alan Dean Foster knows about novelizations. Alan Dean Foster is he's in the documentary. He's in the doc. So so it's going to be it's the same director, well, the same producer, Steven Scarlatta, who did the documentary Alejandro Jodorowsky's Dune. So he did that movie as a producer. Same producer. He's making this documentary about movie novelizations. I think it's going to be fantastic. Yeah. So whenever that comes out, and I'm in it, and it's an interview I did.
You still there? I think you froze up.
Yeah, no, I think he froze. Yeah. No, Alan Dean Foster did the Dark Star novelization, which is the only time I can think of where a student film has gotten a novelization.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, you're back.
Interesting. I'm a huge fan of Dark Star. I mean, that is that's John Carpenter's first feature.
Yeah. Him and Dan O'Bannon.
It's such a great movie. The sort of sentient bombs, right? There's these these bombs are sentient. They have a life, right? And they're it's cheap. There's a monster in it that looks like it's made from a garbage bag. Yep. So it's cheap, but if you look at it as almost like an episodic TV show, it's fun. Nomadland was so depressing. Great cinematography, though. Too political for me, though. No hope, too.
Yeah, so, I couldn't get through that. I couldn't get through that movie.
Nomadland, I enjoyed it for what it was, a small indie movie. I didn't expect it to do well at the Oscars. The thing that I thought was the most depressing wasn't shitting in a bucket. Wasn't Frances McDormand shitting in a bucket. It was working at Amazon. That was the most depressing thing about Nomadland, was the glimpse. And I don't know how they got away with it. Probably because Frances McDormand sweet talked them. I mean, she's a producer on the movie, and sweet talked them and hey, can we just shoot at Amazon? And it showed you how depressing it is to work at Amazon. In that giant fact, it's very dystopian.
Yeah, because of that, no one shops at Amazon anymore.
Yeah, no. So yeah, it's working at
Yeah.
Amazon is like it looks like a science fiction movie. So I loved O'Bannon's screenwriting book. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's there. There's also a documentary. Why am I'm probably spacing on this doc because I've been up since 4:30 and we've been talking for going on 2 hours now. But like there's a documentary about Alien that goes into a lot of Dan O'Bannon's early early history, how he became a writer even, right? Like he was a fan of comic books and horror movies and whatnot, and was just sort of obsessed with that stuff as a kid, and what led to his writing of the original Alien, kind of going through what is that movie? It's
Yeah, I'm looking that up.
but Dan O'Bannon's a big part of that documentary, and it's about it's really about the chest burster scene in Alien and what led to that, and why that kind of like, I think there are certain scenes in movies that have changed cinema. You're going to think I'm crazy. This could basically be a topic for us one day on a live stream.
Is
And
it
I
Memory, the Origin of Alien?
Memory, the Origin of Alien, fantastic documentary. Really good, by a director named Alexander Philippe. Philip did that documentary. It's either Philippe or Philip. I don't know. But that doc is fantastic, and Dan O'Bannon, a lot of his early history is in that. But it's interesting, there are scenes that have changed movies. I would say the head exploding in the original George Romero Night of the Living Dead, when the head explodes, I'd never seen anything like that in a movie. Blew my mind, literally. And the alien chest burster scene, shocking scenes that I think change forever movies. I will say this, we've got a lot of people watching this live stream. I want to thank everybody in the chat watching this live stream, not only for your participation, but just for sticking with us for almost 2 hours now. We're going to stay on for another 10 or 15 minutes and wrap it up. But I want to say thank you. And also, we do weekly live streams on Fridays. We do a Friday live stream where we talk about most of the movies that have opened that weekend. So come to us for our Friday live streams, where we also have filmmakers as special guests. I don't know who our special guest is this week, but we have a special guest this week that's coming in at 10 a.m. But our live stream will be at 9 a.m. this Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we're going to be launching, I'm going to make the announcement right now, Alan. We're launching another live stream show that's going to be either on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. We haven't figured it out yet. And it's called Hollywood on the Rocks. And it's us talking about all types of topics related to the current state of film and the current state of Hollywood on the Rocks.
Much like this, yeah.
Much like this. So thank you. Let's go through some of the chat. Dan, this is an early show. Hail, Chris. Hail, Film Threat. Thanks, Tease House.
Yes, it was an early show.
Oh, yeah.
Mark O'Brien says, it's my UK work from home lunch break just now. Great viewing, folks. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for all your participation. Someone says, I saw that doc, deleted scenes, talking about Alien, the Alien documentary. I saw that doc. It was good. There's also another doc about Alien that's coming out soon that is, I don't think it's out in commercial release yet, but it's about the stage play they did of Alien in the UK. We reviewed it when it was at South by Southwest, and I thought it was great. It was it was funny as hell, because it's basically non-actors putting on the stage play, and they did like really sort of cheap special effects. I think it's just called Alien on Stage. Right?
Yeah, that's what it's called, Alien on Stage.
Alien on Stage, and it played South by Southwest, and I know I interviewed the two directors for that. So there you are. I do think that looking at the nominations, they don't seem particularly, it seems like the Academy is just trying to spread the love, trying to do a non-controversial, although Javier Bardem might be considered a controversial nominee because he's not the exact. Could you go through all the different nominees and make that argument? It's kind of ridiculous. What do you think about that argument? What do you think about that argument, Alan?
It's like you want the best performance, and you're gonna, and whenever this comes up, I always ask, Well, then what Cuban actor would you cast that would do just as good, if not a better job at playing Desi Arnaz? And then also you have the buy-off from the family saying that they were absolutely fine with Javier Bardem playing their father.
Right.
And so it's like, it's this whole gatekeeping argument.
Well, it's ridiculous. Wasn't there a case recently where, oh my God, I'm forgetting this, but there was an actress that was about to be cast for a role playing a blind person, but they're not blind.
Yeah. Well, remember the upside where who was in that? But with Kevin Hart, I should remember this actor from Breaking Bad. But he played a quadriplegic, and is like, well, what quadriplegic actor could do just as good a job? And, if there is one, by all means, cast that person. But in the meantime, what do you do? What do you do?
It's getting
Bryan Cranston. That's it.
It's getting a little ridiculous on that. I think we want to see, we want to see actors push themselves in directions that they're not used to, where it's uncomfortable to play a role. I think you get a great performance out of that. So
I will say,
I don't know.
I will say I saw recently Alec Guinness playing a Chinese man in a movie.
Well, that to me, those
our
things
dragon, our dinosaurs missing. Was it Our Dinosaurs Missing?
I think that's the one. And it was like, wow, this is a really cringy performance of an Asian man.
Whenever they do that with John Wayne playing, Genghis Khan or Mickey, Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's. That movie, I love that movie, except that part. And I even as a kid, because I used to watch a lot of Asian cinema when I was a kid. Godzilla. Or Godzilla, I would watch Godzilla movies, Johnny Sacco, Ultraman, and Attack of the Mushroom People. Like I would watch a lot of the Toho stuff, and that sort of got me into foreign cinema. Or you know what? People don't want to even have you use the word foreign cinema now.
Yeah,
because it sounds othering. They want you to say world cinema.
Yeah, what are they? They use the interesting term this time.
I'm just saying
international feature film.
International feature film, right? You can't.
That's basically foreign film.
We can't say foreign film because foreign film would be bad.
You're swapping international with foreign. I mean,
whatever.
It's like yeah.
Sick of the word.
I don't know. When I was coming up, foreign film was, like a category in and of itself, to where you're just like, what kind of films do you like to watch? Well, I like to watch foreign films, and so, world film, international film, that's all fine and dandy, but, it used to be that we would wear foreign film as a badge of honor, like I can actually read a movie,
Yeah.
Technically, Belfast is a foreign film. So.
Technically, it is. Just for those joining us late, we've got a lot of people here watching us live. I want to go over some of the nominees here. For Best Picture, we have Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune. We have Dune. King Richard, Licorice Pizza. Licorice Pizza was a surprise. Nightmare Alley, very happy about that one. The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story, which is sort of like, well, it's Spielberg. I guess we'll get.
It's a great movie. I'm sorry, it's a great movie.
You know what? The original is a great movie.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It didn't need to be made.
No one was asking for a remake of West Side Story. I feel like it's lazy. Remakes, it just Hollywood is just so lazy when it comes to this stuff. We didn't really talk about actress. Let's actually talk about actress in a leading role. We have Jessica Chastain, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman, The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz, Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman, Being the Ricardos, Kristen Stewart, Spencer. I think from Jessica Chastain is like, she's unrecognizable in The Eyes of Tammy Faye if you have not seen that yet. Olivia Colman, she's won before, always delivers a great performance.
She did in this movie, definitely. But it's a very small performance. That's
right. Penelope Cruz, and then I think it's going to be between Nicole Kidman and Kristen Stewart and Jessica Chastain. I don't know. This one is like, I think it's this looks like to me one of the toughest ones. What are your thoughts? What's your 4D chess analysis of actors?
Yeah, I mean Jessica Chastain. I just felt like it was more of a comedy performance, and I'll probably say that because I'm very familiar with Tammy Faye, and I've of that time, and it just felt like a comedy. I think Nicole Kidman, what I appreciate was the fact that she didn't go for a Lucille Ball impression, except for the television performances. And then Kristen Stewart, yeah, okay. So I think I would give it to Nicole Kidman in this case.
I think Nicole Kidman could have it.
I think that would be my guess.
I don't know. There was so much backlash for Nicole Kidman being cast in it in the first place. But yeah, Chastain, if it's a comedy type role, honestly, I think that they might go ahead and give it to Coleman. I think Coleman's rapidly becoming our new Meryl Streep, right there for, just go ahead and just, give her an award every time she crops up. Penelope Cruz, though, I think could potentially be a competitor. When was the last time she won an Oscar?
Did she win an Oscar?
I think she won once. Way back. But if she hasn't won, then yeah, Cruz is a lock.
Well, let's see. Let's go to the chat. The chat is all about Penelope Cruz was a lovely surprise, says Mega Movies, who also goes on to say Kristen Stewart is who I want to win. The chat is all about Kristen Stewart. And someone, T's House reminds me, remember Eternals saved lives.
That's
How
right.
did it not get nominations? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because it was a terrible movie that no one was asking for that would have made a better Disney Plus series. We would have gotten to know the characters, and then events in the movie might have mattered, but it was kind of it was a colossal disappointment. But I think we kind of knew from the trailers that it was not going to be great. People say Kristen's going to win. Kristen's going to win. So happy.
She might win. She might win because they did not nominate her for Joan Jett, and her Joan Jett was impeccable.
Oh, she won. Penelope Cruz won for Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
There you go. Mark O'Brien says no.
She's not going to win.
No Bruce Willis category. No Bruce Willis category. This was the Red Letter Media. Just one of my favorite YouTube channels about movie. Red Letter Media just did a whole video about all these crappy Bruce Willis movies.
Well, the Razzies just made a Bruce Willis.
Did they do a Bruce Willis category? I'm not surprised. Yeah. It's so weird because like we get all of these movies. They're like, it's opening in theaters. Do you want the new Bruce Willis? And it's just all these movies. They're all the same. They look like they're all made for, under $1 million. They all look like Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis's body double, basically the guy who plays the back of his head. He's on the set more than Bruce Willis is. Bruce Willis comes in to do all the close-ups and inserts for 2 days, but he's in the whole movie. It's really bizarre.
He's taking jobs away from Eric Roberts.
Well, there you go. But yeah, exactly. No, Eric Roberts. We love Eric Roberts.
We do.
Yeah, love Eric Roberts, the greatest.
I'm just saying, Bruce Willis is horning in on his action.
The chat is on fire here. King Richard surprised me, says Hannibal Grimm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're talking amongst themselves now here in the chat. I realize that I'm doing this on my laptop, and I realize I need a bigger monitor so I can read the chat.
Or get a second one.
That's what I'm getting, is a second monitor, like a cheap one, just so that I can see it on a bigger screen, so I can actually read the chat before I put up the chat. So there we go. Rishab Karki, if I'm reading it correctly, and my apologies, if films started hiring everyone by the essence of who they are in real life, what is the meaning of being an actor?
Yeah.
Precisely.
Exactly.
What is the meaning of being an actor? You can't know it, unless it's a documentary. It's really, so I don't like that thinking. I think it goes down now, I think there's obvious ones that don't work. Mickey Rooney, in Breakfast at Tiffany was horrible. That did not work. It was a stereotype. It was really bad. And it was cringe when I saw it as a kid, and it's just as cringe now. But I think
on the other side of the argument, there was a need to hire white actors to play minorities because of the lack of experience. But I think there is a growing number of actors of color who can start doing these roles, and I think the point is we need to give them the chance to get, to start, so we don't need, less white actors. I'm all for that. Less white actors.
Well,
Yeah, my main thing with the nationality representation thing is that unfortunately we're still locked in with needing a name actor in a lot of projects in order for the project to move forward. And like if we had more opportunity to like go ahead and draw from the pool of Cuban actors who don't really have any visibility in the cinema world, but then they get a boffo role like Ricky Ricardo to go ahead and get them out of there, then suddenly we start having named Cuban actors. The problem is the fact that you have to have a name in order to get in, and because you don't have the name, you can't, and the only way to get the name is to get a role like this to where you can go ahead and you show your stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a vicious circle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say about being the Ricardos, who would you have replaced him with?
Yeah,
Thomas.
What's that?
I would have gone ahead and put Thomas Milan in there, right there. I don't think greatest Cuban actor of all time, and he never played I don't think he ever played one Cuban role in his entire career, because they just weren't. Just pure dumb love. Yeah, Thomas Milan. Just go ahead and CGI him like they did with Robert De Niro to make him look about 40 years younger. Right there. I don't even know if he's still alive, but yeah, I would have put Thomas Milan as Ricky Ricardo.
I mean, I think Andy Garcia would have been the only other name I could think of that could have played that role.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, he would have. He's too old, but man,
that's the problem. It's like, it's like it's like how many more Asian roles can Randall Park do? It's you got to broaden. There's a lot of Asian American actors out there who can do these roles too.
Well, people are reacting to our, Tease House says, reacting to this topic, you're not allowed to act anymore. We need your exact type cast or no job.
Well, I would say that's true for Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell was one that was, that was.
I mean, granted, the only reason that movie was made because of Scarlett Johansson, and which I would say is maybe we didn't need to make that movie until we found the right actor.
Yeah. So.
Japan's reaction to it was that they, if they were going to make the Japanese version of Ghost in the Shell, they would expect a Japanese actress. But for the American Ghost in the Shell, apparently Japan was expecting an American actress for it.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation that we can get into. But I agree with that. Yeah.
Olaf Von S says, who knows, in 20 to 30 years, anyone can play a role, and they add a deep fake face on the person playing the role, or actors are out of jobs and use rendered CGI humans. Funny you say that, Olaf. There's a movie that's currently being made where they have licensed the likeness of the actor James Dean to act in a new movie. So they've hired a body double, and then they're just digitally putting James Dean's face on it, and it'll be starring James Dean. I don't know if that'll work. I mean,
the Ghostbusters Afterlife, they did.
Exactly. I mean, they've always speculated that that'll be a thing. Ghostbusters Afterlife used that, and I think it worked for that. I'm not sure. Ghost in the Shell should have dumped all the Ghost in the Shell stuff and cooked the script as its own thing longer, says Hannibal Grimm. What are our final thoughts? We're going to be wrapping it up. We're wrapping it up soon just because we've been on for 2+ hours. And I want to say hail to the chat. You are on fire. Thank you for all your participation. People from all over the world watching us. I know it's lunchtime, or it was lunchtime in the UK. So we got up early for this. Thank you for watching along with us. Final thoughts on the Oscars. I have a prediction that every year comes true, and I will save my prediction for the very end. But what are your Oscar predictions? Any category thoughts where you think there will be upsets? What are your thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, Okay, so yeah, I mentioned before. I think the only thing Dune has working against it is that it's a genre film, and if Power of the Dog wins, it'll be for that reason, that exact reason.
Right.
Um, I'm also curious to see if there's going to be a Oscar so white conversation. I feel like it's not going to happen this year. It looks better than years in the past. I don't want to make a definitive
It looks like
statement
there's some yeah, it looks like at least they've
Yeah.
sort of spread the love around, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it feels forced at all. I mean,
It doesn't-
Ariana DuBois, she deserves to be in the supporting actor role.
we should
I'm good with
start
that.
we should start a new hashtag, Oscars so woke. That should be the new. I don't know that it applies this year, but
I don't think so. I don't think
I don't think it applies, but Oscars so woke could have been used in the past.
Yeah.
I think Michael. Oh, sorry, Alan. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. I think if there is a woke movie, it's Power of the Dog. But I don't deny that it doesn't deserve to be there.
Right. Well, Michael, any thoughts? Thoughts on upsets? Thoughts on snubs? What do you think based on looking at the nominees? I'll throw.
Well, I mean,
again.
yeah. Once again, I think Kristen Dunst is surefire bet for supporting actress. I think that Kristen Stewart is looking very strong for actress based on the fact that she does have a body of work that we can go ahead and draw from, like with On the Road, The Runaways, and Seberg. In terms of cinematography, I'm going to give the edge to Power of the Dog because of those purdy mountains. Art direction or production design, whatever they call it, that goes straight to Nightmare Alley. Gorgeous production design on that. I feel that Jane Campion will win Best Director, and I feel Dune is perfectly situated for Best Picture. Biggest snubs besides Wes Anderson's complete and total absence. Really wish that we had seen for foreign language film Drunken Birds get nominated. My understanding is Canada did submit it for their foreign language category since it's both in French and in Spanish. I feel like not giving that a nod and also not nominating it for cinematography as the majority of the movie was shot in Magic Hour. Crime of the century. Also crime of the century for not nominating Nightmare Alley for adapted screenplay because they even made the bits in the book that were dull exciting because the mentalist bit in the book or the spiritualist bit in the book was just dragged, but they were able to make that exciting in the movie. I thought it was a brilliant adaptation.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, and I'm so glad that it bubbled to the surface as one that made it with multiple nominations. It's interesting when it comes to sound. I'm not surprised that Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story. I think those are all well suited for a sound nomination, but they used to do best sound editing and then best sound, right? They used to split it. Now they combine that into one, just the best sound for a film, which I think is fascinating.
Didn't RoboCop win for that category?
What's that?
Didn't RoboCop win an Oscar for that category, sound editing?
If it didn't, it should have.
Exactly.
We nominated.
But I think best visual effects, I will stand by my it's always the best genre film. And I think Dune will probably take that away. Maybe Spider-Man. Who knows? If Spider-Man won, that would be great. But I mean, all of the films listed, I would say Shang-Chi probably has the weakest effects. They just have that looks too digital and like over the top. It's that Marvel can't get the third act of their movies straight. I feel like that's always a weakness in almost in most Marvel movies. The weakness is Act 3. It's like they might as well just have a giant kitchen sink floating, or at least maybe hidden as an Easter egg in every third act of every Marvel movie, because that basically is what it feels like.
I think what Spider-Man has going against it is because it is in that family of Marvel visual effects. And those effects apply to every Marvel film. And so you've seen it over and over and over again, which is why I think Dune stands out.
Right. But I'll make a prediction this year. I make this prediction every year, and it always comes true. I can't emphasize how much, if this is one of the predictions that you can bet on it because you will win. Every year I make the same prediction and I send out the same tweet about this prediction. It gets almost no traction, so no one's ever heard of this. But I'll just say this, my prediction for the Oscars is that it will be boring. Every year it's boring. It starts off with maybe a good sort of opening monologue or a comedy. I always like when they did comedy. Remember when Billy Crystal did those comedy segments? You kind of like put
God,
him
yeah.
in?
Or Johnny
Right.
Carson.
Black stuff.
It was funny. The Oscars has lost its sense of humor of late. It takes itself far too seriously. The virtue signaling and lecturing is beyond pathetic. The hypocrisy when you see these the act and look, you're gonna see it. They're gonna be the help in the background, the ushers, the bartenders, they're all the people working behind the scenes, all gonna be masked, and no one else is gonna be masked because that's our new reality, right? And it's gonna be boring. And I think I think unless there is a dramatic change, and the only dramatic change would be get Toby, Andrew, and Tom, the Spider-Man, to host.
Yeah.
Get Ricky Gervais to host. I think they're really going to play it up and try to be commercial when it comes to the show aspect. If they do that, if not, I think you're going to see even worse ratings than last year. People aren't coming back. I mean, look at the Olympics right now. Wait, why am I still big? I just did that for dramatic effect. Sorry about that. Look at the Olympics right now. Like the lowest rated opening ceremony. And here's the weird thing. I actually watched the opening ceremony for the Olympics because I don't know, because I'm a glutton for whatever. I watched it. It was spectacular. It was like the budget was bigger than Dune. It must have been. No, they had not only this giant stadium that they built in Beijing, but they had this LED. The floor of the stadium was a television set. It was a television, an LED screen, and there were people marching on it. It was insane. It was so over the top, and they didn't pull any punches when it came to talking about politics, which I was very surprised by the announcers. But the ratings were terrible. There's something that because of what's been happening, people have reevaluated. Habits have been lost. The habit of going to the movies has been lost. You could have opened a bad movie and it would have done well at the box office just because that habit is there. I think Spider-Man first of all, Spider-Man No Way Home was a really good movie. It had broad appeal to families, adults, Marvel fans, non-Marvel fans, just fans of Spider-Man. And so I'm not surprised that did well, but habits have been lost, and caring about Oscars and giving celebrities awards for their creative work, for which they're very well compensated. I think there's almost a resentment, Hollywood, a resentment among the public and audiences for it. Hollywood used to make movies like Norma Ray, right? With starring Sally Field about working class, right? Remember Norma Ray? She's holding that sign, I'm surprised that the mainstream media and Hollywood has not embraced the class disparity that is ravaging not just this country, but other countries. It's disheartening to see. And Hollywood used to tell those stories, used to tell the small stories, used to be against censorship. There's a great speech in the movie Field of Dreams at a PTA meeting, Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner, the speech that's delivered by his wife in the film. And I'm spacing on her name right now. I'm so sorry.
Is it Amy Madigan? Or
yes, I think it's yes. She gives this speech to the PTA about banning a particular book by an author, a fictionalized author. She gives this whole speech about censorship. And you can find that speech isolated. You can find it on YouTube. Watch that speech from Field of Dreams. Hollywood used to champion those causes. It didn't make everyone wrong. I feel like when this is sort of a general thing that just is my personal philosophy about a lot of this stuff is when you make someone wrong, you're wrong or a bad person You will never win their hearts or their minds about any issue. I like to say, you know, Luke Skywalker never canceled Darth Vader. He brought him to the good side. If your side is in fact good, make the argument, have the debate. Have the debate about the topic that you care so much about because you're so in the right. If you're so in the right, convince me, but don't make me wrong. Don't make me a bad person because I don't agree with what you think. And I feel like that's what Hollywood has become. That's the conversation on social media has become about making people wrong, right? And it never works. I'd like to see Hollywood. Nomadland was kind of a step in that direction. Whatever you think about Nomadland, it was a glimpse into class disparity and the struggles of the working class. I think it was done as kind of an art film, which means it didn't connect with a broad audience. You know, there could have been a more mainstream version of Nomadland that probably would have connected with a mainstream audience. But it's really disheartening to see the cruel conversations that happen on social media. I'm just shocked at what people will say to each other. And you know, the movies kind of reflect this arrogance of these are the ideas you must have. And I feel like the best way is to present a story through the point of view of a character that isn't you, that might make you think differently about something, but you're not telling me what to think. You're allowing me to think for myself based on an experience that I've had. So with that, okay, wait. Oh my God. Now they're making fun of me in the chat.
I know.
Which is fine. It's fine. Make fun of me. Olaf says it's more about the message these days. You're right. Yeah. It's about the agenda. It's about the agenda. Preach, Chris. Preach. And someone says, T's house says, get him, Chris. Or it's like, this is great. T's house, go, Frosk. Oh, no.
Oh, no, you've done it.
Oh, God. Okay, that's okay. I deserve that, T's house.
No. What you need to start doing is blame everyone in chat for what's going on.
No, here we go. It's weird. It's weird. That Trini gamer. I have seen, you know, I've, you know, my commentary on that situation. I used to work at G4 in its heyday. It was the best job I ever had in television. Best job because I could speak my mind within reason. I could say, I couldn't say fuck, right? I couldn't say expletives, right? But I got away with mispronouncing expletives. I said shathid among other words. So, but it was the best job because I could be myself on camera, and times have changed.
Yeah.
So I am working on a documentary right now about Attack of the Show called Attack of the Doc. Our first public screening of the film. We're going to screen our current cut at the end of April in time with the 20th anniversary of G4. Will be, I'll let you know when tickets are available. They will be available to the public. So, and then we're also going to do a screening. Maybe it's too early to announce this. We're going to be doing a screening during San Diego Comic-Con, not at San Diego Comic-Con. During San Diego Comic-Con, we're doing a screening of. There we go. Look at these. Joshua Gonzalez, laugh my ass off. Chris is Frosk. Hey, am I Frosk?
Maybe no. Once you start blaming the chat for what's wrong with the world,
I see you in the chat. Oh my God. It's been so parodied. Chrissy Mayer does that amazing parody, that impersonation of Frosk. Look, I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her that she was so affected by comments that she felt she needed to lecture the chat. As far as I'm concerned, you know, call me out on stuff. T's house, LMFAO, love you, mate. Thank you, T's house, love you back. Thank you. I just, you know, like I've never, I don't know. I feel bad for her. I feel like maybe I've been around long enough where people have, you know, people have said things about me. It just sort of rolls off. Like, I don't care. There's a documentary that's been in the works about Film Threat in the 90s called Film Threat Sucks. So there you go. Chet's Mom 4. I know who Chet's Mom 4 is. Nope, Chris, you are absolutely correct. Bring back movies that allow people to think. Yes. I want to be able to come to my own conclusions. And there are like Hollywood has always had kind of woke messaging, but it's been part of the theme of the movie or sort of imbued in a character. You know, a movie that was probably by today's standard considered, it was woke at the time. It's considered woke, but like had great storytelling. I thought was Dances with Wolves, right? By Kevin Costner. I enjoyed that film as a great score, by the way, such an amazing score for that film. And so Hollywood's always had this kind of messaging. It's being delivered differently. It's being delivered that you have to have the correct opinion. And I don't agree. And we cover a lot of movies on the Film Threat, on filmthreat.com, that could be considered woke in their messaging. But I don't know. I think that those indie filmmakers, they care passionately about issues. And I like the diversity of thought that we have on Film Threat. I much appreciate that. I am really rambling. I think it's because I'm tired. I think it's because I've been up since 4:30. So thank you to the chat. I see you and I thank you. So, and I appreciate your comments, even the ones that say terrible things about me or disagree with my opinion or correct me when I make a mistake. You know, I try to be as mistake-free as possible, but I think we all make mistakes on a live stream, or I'll try to correct a fact. But yeah, Rashad Karki says her Grace Randolph impression was great. They're talking about Chrissy Mayer. Chrissy Mayer, who has a YouTube channel and is a stand-up comedian who is on Friday Night Tights. She is Friday Night Tights every week. So there you go. Satan West says, love your takes, Chris. Thank you very much. This. I don't want to not just things that say nice things about me. We could talk about issues.
Yeah, someone say something bad about Chris. All right.
That's okay. No, I get plenty. I got plenty. I think I told the story once. The very first time I ever did television was like for the show called The X Show on FX. And I got an email. Someone sent me an email, and it was from the email address was chrisgoreisfat@hotmail.com, and sent it to me and talked about how terrible I am. So whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine. But, you know, Jared Guffey says, Chris, you're always spitting facts. So there you go. And Cameron Belt says, don't leave yet. I'm almost finished. Uh-oh.
Oh
no. Oh no. Is that
Chris does not exist?
Yeah. Like if you're jerking off to me, put F in the chat. If you're not jerking off to me, put F in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Chrissy Mayer is she cracks me up. But I think the way to deflect on that, really, if to allow those things to not affect you, is to have a sense of humor. I think that the old G4, this is my argument. You know, some people on social media have tried to mischaracterize what I have said about people like Adam Sessler and Frost and the new G4. Thank you for your Fs. Thank you for your Fs, everyone typing an F. Thank you for that.
F for fun.
That's F for fun. But people have tried to mischaracterize things I've said on Friday Night Tights or Ryan Cannell's podcast or others. And I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to say I feel for my previous colleagues that are at the current G4. I feel for them, and I feel for Frost, because I think she's allowed those things to affect her. And it's sad for me to see, but people have tried to mischaracterize that I'm speaking against G4. I have not done that. If you look at everything I've said, I've come at it from a place of empathy, because I've been in that position. What do I prefer? I prefer to be an independent creator and be able to speak my mind freely, rather than work for a corporation. And, you know, look, toward the end at G4, it got very corporate in a way that, like, I thought that I was on the bubble of being fired a couple times. One of these days I'll tell those stories, but yeah. And Rashab says, Chris, you should play live action Jack Frost in a live action film. Yes. I am I've often said my hair is like Freeze Miser. That's a deep Freeze Miser. If you know the Rankin Bass, the Rankin Bass.
Yeah, no, I just saw Rise of the Guardians last weekend, and yes,
how was that?
You should be Jack Frost.
I should be Jack Frost. All right, well, I'll be Jack.
I like
Frost.
Rise of the Guardians.
T's House would love to hear those stories. One day I will tell those stories when Attack of the Doc comes out. We are going to be releasing a Blu-ray and a digital release. There will be a commentary track, and there's a lot of stories that will be spilled. There'll be unedited interviews, and I've been working on that project for a couple of years. The pandemic and G4 coming back did not help. That actually completely changed what the documentary is, but I think the final result will be something I hope you like. So thank you for, feel free to make fun of me. I have a sense I think that's the one thing that's, at Film Threat, people are very different. I mean, we have people that write for Film Threat have very different views politically, but the one thing everyone has in common, Michael certainly has that, Alan has that, everyone has a sense of humor about themselves. And I think that's really important. You have to have a sense of humor about yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to cut it at Film Threat. It's just not going to happen. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Alan, you've been around Film Threat now since 2018, 2017, 18?
Yeah.
A while.
Yeah.
Michael, you've been around for a couple of years now, like 2018, I think.
Yeah, no, it was actually 18 because I was already cutting videos for 18 for the podcasts.
That's right. Yeah, but having a sense of humor, I think, is critical. Take your work seriously. Don't take yourself seriously. That's kind of a mantra. So there you go. Before we sign off, I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat for watching us. We had more viewers than we normally have for a live stream. We're doing our big live stream this Friday, 9 a.m. Alan will be there. We'll be talking about all the movies opening this weekend, and it's not a great bunch of movies. To be honest.
Yeah, I was afraid to mention them because I don't think people will come back.
Yeah.
But we got one special movie that we'll talk about.
We're talking about a couple independent films that have opened recently, and the big movies that are opening in theaters.
Yeah.
We've got there's a whole bunch. So we'll be talking about those, and we'll have some special guests. And of course, the chat, you're part of this. You guide the conversation. You are part of this conversation. So other things that you'd like us to talk about, we will absolutely talk about. And I am the postman in Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Wait a sec, Chet's mom 4. I know who you are. That you're right. I'm pretty much the postman in Santa Claus is Coming to Town. That she's allowed to say that because I've known Chet's mom 4 since, oh my God, going back to, I want to say junior high or elementary school. She'll remind me, Chet's mom. Remind me later.
What happened to Chet? That's my only question.
Chet's mom. It's Chet's mom 4. So thank you, Chet's mom 4, for that reminder. Clayton West says, hey, keep up the good work. We will do that. Get RMB as a guest. That'll be difficult now because now he is Robert Meyer Burnett, who lives literally a mile and a half from me in Pasadena. He's now full-time at the John Campea show. He's been hired full-time. So I don't know how that's going to affect his own live stream. So
he's still doing it.
And actually RMB has been a guest on the Film Threat podcast for the movie Tango Shalom. If you look on the Film Threat, just look up Tango Shalom on the Film Threat YouTube channel. Robert Meyer Burnett was a guest, and we had a great conversation, not just about the movie, but just talking about nerd stuff, which is impossible when the two of us get together to not talk about nerd stuff. But Chet's mom says, from first grade, we have known each other. Wow. That is old school. There you go. First grade. That's awesome. Wow. Okay, cool. Well, we are due for a catch up, Chet's mom. I want to thank everybody again in the chat for this. Thank you for joining us for our Oscar nominations. We will be doing a live Oscar react show, so you can watch the Oscars and then you can watch the Film Threat crew drink and comment on the awards, which will be a lot of fun. And join us every Friday for our live streams and our new live stream show, which I haven't announced what day it's going to be yet. But it's called Hollywood on the Rocks. Wait until you see the graphics package. Wait until you see the graphics package, Alan. It's funny. But Hollywood on the Rocks.
Has it changed? I think I saw it a while ago.
Yeah, no, it's different. That's a different show.
Oh, that's
So-
right. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
So we're going to be doing other live stream shows on the Film Threat YouTube channel. I appreciate you. Hail Film Threat. Hail to the chat. Hail to everyone there. RMB is a cool dude. Love him. Same here. So take care and thanks for the stream. Yeah, he saw Tango Shalom. I saw Tango Shalom that weekend. It was awesome. Check out the interview with RMB and the director on our YouTube channel. Make a drinking game for the Oscars. Oh, 100%. Not just a drinking game. I will make a special cocktail for the Oscars. And I'll be drinking probably out of my Film Threat pint glass here, which you can kind of see right there.
Can you buy something like that?
What's that?
Can you buy something like that?
We'll put those up on the Film Threat shop. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. Your final reminder there. Michael Talbot Haynes, thank you for being on our live stream early. And Alan.
Oh yeah.
Well, cool.
The one time of the year where it's fun to get up early.
Yeah, the one time. But thank you again, everybody. We appreciate you. We will be back with more live streams and a new show called Hollywood on the Rocks. Take care, everybody. Later. See you at the Oscars and see you this Friday.